Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone's having a great day so far. On here very early because I'm not too sure how long I'm going to be able to stay on or when I'm going to be able to stream today. So I decided to just stream when I'm available to, and that's right now. So let's see what we have in the chat. We have Andrew Catman, we have Super, as well as Northeast Weather, Kermit, Cody, and everyone else who's watching who may not be chatting. Glad to have you in here as well. Alright, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Let's switch to our main scene there. We will have Connor Croft with us towards like 11 a.m. So that's about an hour and a half away. If I'm still live at that point, we'll figure that out later. But yeah, let me stop looping this. So right now, we have a tornado warning that was recently issued out here for Marble Falls in Central Texas. We have an enhanced risk today, so they've upgraded this quite a bit. Some of these spots were actually in the marginal risk and upgraded straight to the slight risk, and then enhanced risk as well, so they got double upgrades. And Eastern Louisiana actually just got put under a slight risk as well, and Western Louisiana just got put under that enhanced risk on the newest update about 20 minutes ago. We do have that quite large enhanced risk for severe weather. If we look, it is actually for strong tornadoes. That whole area there is a 10 significant chance for strong tornadoes today. A little surprised they didn't push it west into Austin and Killeen, Texas, considering we're already getting convection ongoing there, but they kept it back out towards College Station, Rockdale, Temple, Texas there, and that goes all the way into Manny and just northwest of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Also, they introduced a wind threat, a 30% wind threat here. So there is the opportunity of up to 80 mile per hour winds today. Originally had 70, but upped it to 80 because I figured out they upgraded those probabilities to a 30%. So pretty good threat for all hazards today. We don't have... Oh, actually... we do have a hatched hail risk. I didn't realize that. So we do have a hatched hail risk. I didn't think we did. So we do have a 15 sig hail, a 10 sig tor, and a 30% wind. That's the probabilities today. This tornado watch that was just issued is actually quite high probability. It is a 70-50 tornado watch. So that is a high-end tornado watch for the potential of multiple tornadoes, a few of which will likely end up being strong. Also, they say 3-inch hail is likely, which means we are really expecting to see 3-inch hail today. Also, they say 70-mile-an-hour winds are likely. So we are expecting to see 3-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds, and at least a tornado or two, at least one being strong. So pretty high-end watch there from the Storm Prediction Center. That's across a good chunk of south central Texas there. If I go ahead and disable this, it's in that purple area. So that goes all the way from including the Houston metro back up towards including Austin there, Clean, Temple, Waco, Fredericksburg, all inside of that pretty high-end tornado watch there. And it goes all the way east towards Crockett, Huntsville, in east central and southeastern Texas. Welcome, Pete, Sam, and Kim. Glad to see you guys all in here. Traveler as well. So this tornado warning will probably expire in 5 minutes as the storm looks very messy. They are continuing a significant severe thunderstorm warning into Florence in central Texas. The main storms to watch today are going to be out of these prefrontal areas of convection out here. We'll have to see how those develop. That's what the HRRR has being our main event today. So we'll see if that ends up being dead wrong or not. Wouldn't shock me if it ends up being dead wrong. I do believe the strongest tornado threat is right where the SPC has it being. I agree with their outlook completely. If we go to there, 10 sig, like I said, maybe possibly expand it a little bit more westward there. They might have on the new update, actually. I could go check that. See if they expanded it at all a little bit to the west. See here, text products, hazards, convecutive. Let's see if they expanded that 10 sig to the west. No, they only pushed it to the east. They did expand the 2% to the west, but it's not really what I was thinking. I thought maybe they pushed that a little bit more west, but there's your 10 sig tour. I do believe we are going to end up with a couple strong tornadoes today. Specifically on the first part of this 10 sig tour, and then later in the afternoon and evening it's going to start shifting towards like the southern end, because this northern end here should be very, very messy as that line ends up congealing into a line like it already is, and then makes its way through the northern side of that 10 sig tour area. Here is that significant hail risk right there. So we've got a chance for actually upwards of 4-inch hail today. 3 to 4-inch hail is a very, very real possibility today. That's really only going to verify if we can get discrete supercells. If we don't get discrete supercells, that hail threat is going to underperform very significantly. We already have up to 1.75-inch hail, though, and it's only 8:27 a.m. over here. Wind threat, like I said, they upgraded that to a 30% there. So that is the chance for 80 to maybe gust a little bit higher than 80 being possible. I don't think we'll see any gust up to 90 today, unless we get a very organized, and I mean very organized line. Let's go to mesoanalysis here. Yeah, so you can see if we look at mesoanalysis, there's a very, very clear area of very favorable ingredients for strong tornadoes today. So that's across this whole area in here. Favorable for strong tornadoes. And if we go for the next 2 hours, you can see that's going to just push to the north. And it's going to stay all over that open warm sector there for at least the next 4 to 6 hours. So we'll see how messy things get. I think messiness is the bust factor today. The underperformance factor is definitely storm mode. So we'll see how much of a role that ends up playing in today's event. I think it's going to be the biggest issue for today. Hello, Caden and Ponderosa and Double. Glad to see you guys all in here. Yeah, pretty high-end tornado watch there. If you're just tuning in, we got a tornado watch that is 70-50 probability. That means there's a 70% chance for 2 or more tornadoes and a 50% chance that one of them is significant. So pretty high probabilities from the Storm Prediction Center there. And we have a few bands that we are watching. There's a few convecutive bands that have set up south of this prefrontal supercell. And we're going to keep an eye on them to see if we could get any robust thunderstorms to form out of them. And then later on tonight, everything should congeal up into a clustery mess. If we look here, I mean, even the HRRR even has everything being messy by 11 a.m. in like an hour and a half. And you can see towards 2 to 3 p.m., the main strong tornado threat will be focused on the southern end, where these storms would be more, they'd have a better chance to be more semi-discrete. And then as you go towards 5 p.m., everything is just a full mess by 5, 6 p.m. Still a few supercells may be able to produce a strong tornado or two. And then as we go towards the night hours, everything is just really rain at that point. So we'll see if that's going to be the case today. See if the HRRR is going to be correct. Now the NAM3K, that shows a similar setup, but it actually has this being a organized line and there being like no prefrontals. So I think that's a bias from the NAM. It's not initiating much in the actual open warm sector, but still the NAM model portrays a big time damaging wind event, isolated strong tornado threat. All right, let me go look at... Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this storm is starting to get a little bit north of the main boundary. It should be able to recycle. It's not too far north just yet. And that boundary is lifting north, so this might be attached to the warm front. Some loud thunderstorms moving through Dallas. Those aren't going to be severe. If you are in Fort Worth or western Dallas, they're not going to be severe. Just going to be some loud thunderstorms with some heavy rain. I believe there was one observed tornado yesterday in southeast New Mexico, and then there was a tornado in eastern North Carolina. Very far eastern North Carolina. Like, really far. So, still a significant severe thunderstorm warning in place for Florence, Gerald, Marble Falls in Texas. This is for the potential of 1.75-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and a tornado is possible. A tornado is definitely possible with this. So it is a Tor possible severe, so if you're in that severe, make sure you're indoors, away from doors and windows, stay close to your safe spot. Really, we really have to see prefrontals today for a very strong tornado threat. I don't think we'll see many strong tornadoes embedded inside of the line until we get towards like 2 p.m. Once we get towards 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. local time, so that's quite a few hours away. That's when an embedded tornado threat may begin. But the HRRR has the best strong tornado threat being from now till about the next 2 hours or so. Go to velocity. Not really much happening there. There is definitely a little couplet trying to start up on the hook echo. You can see it's definitely a pretty solid looking supercell. Definitely a pretty classic supercell. So we'll see if it's able to rotate. If it's not able to really get rotating, it may be north of the boundary. If it gets north of that boundary, nothing north of that will likely be able to be tornadic. And it's hard to say exactly where that boundary is, but it's somewhere around in here is where that boundary is. It might be more south of that. It might be on the storm, or it may be exactly where I drew. I don't know for certain there. According to College of DuPage's meso-analysis, the boundary is actually down here right now towards Austin. It's set up like this. So it's set up over Austin. And if anything gets north of that boundary, that's when it's going to be less tornadic, but still could end up being tornadic north of that boundary. It's just going to be a lot difficult as they drop this all the way down to now 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds being possible. Still possible severe there. So they dropped that all the way down to a normal severe thunderstorm warning. That's going into Liberty Hills, Florence, Jarrell, northwest side of Austin, Texas, way to the northwest of Austin, Texas, actually. Closer to Georgetown. So the good news is all these convective bands have already fired. Very messy. You see them all on the left side of your screen, middle side, and then very far right side of your screen there. Those are all your convective bands that we're keeping an eye on for semi-discrete convection to fire over the next couple hours. And none of it looks likely to fire in the short term here. Go here. If you look at satellite imagery above my face cam, it might be a little difficult to see. I'll circle it. But this is the area to watch for discrete supercells, which we can also probably use this satellite to also just get an idea of where that is. Very difficult to see on low resolution satellite, but it's right in here where we're watching the most for prefrontal storms. So there's your front right back here. And then, like I said, you have a boundary somewhere in here. Rough estimate is right in here for that boundary. And that's moving up to the north-northeast. Just like this. I don't know how far north that boundary is going to get. I imagine it's going to get all the way up to almost Dallas by the evening hours. Actually, the main boundary may not even reach Waco. Some remnants of the boundary's instability may reach Dallas, and Dallas, your biggest threat is actually going to be with this line moving through here in about an hour or so, maybe even a little bit less than that. It's going to start hitting western Fort Worth in an hour. But yeah, the main things to pay attention to today is where that boundary is and how many prefrontal storms we have, as well as how messy they are. So two of the main things is storm mode and then how many prefrontals fire. That's a big deciding factor. So just taking a look at our most accurate simulated reflectivity. So in 20 minutes, it has all these prefrontals firing up. All of these prefrontals firing up. Yeah, I doubt we'll see 20 of them fire in 20 minutes. Or, I doubt we'll see at least 5 of them fire in 20 minutes. But you can see it also has a bunch up here. It has the remnants here, and then it has a lot down here. Some over here. It has a lot of them in 20 minutes. It's hard to say exactly where the boundary is. This is a very rough estimate of it. We can use the HRRR. So this is a very rough estimate of where that boundary is. Right in here. But it could be a little bit more north than that. And anything that gets north of that boundary, it has a much harder time being tornadic. So we got to pay attention to right on that boundary. Specifically, see where this indent is. We have to pay attention to where that indent goes. So right in here, follow that indent. And anything on that indent or in front of it, so this whole area here, that's going to be the best tornado threat at 1 p.m. That's 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central Time. If we switch to reflectivity, you can see that greatest tornado threat would be focused right in here. Very close to where both of those boundaries are. We did get a new severe thunderstorm warning back up here west of Fort Worth for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. So you can see that kind of bowing out feature there, especially on velocity. Not so much on reflectivity. That's going right along the I-20 corridor. So if you're traveling along the I-20 corridor going towards Weatherford, Texas, just keep in mind there is a severe storm that is paralleling that interstate, so it may be best to pull over in a parking lot, not on the side of an interstate or not under an overpass. Make sure you pull into like an off-ramp and then a parking lot somewhere off of that off-ramp. Don't go under an overpass, because that clogs up the interstate. I experienced that firsthand on my chase yesterday. We were at a standstill. Whole interstate was at a standstill for like 10-15 minutes because people wanted to park under an overpass. So don't do that. Just try to get off the interstate and then park in any parking lot you can find off that off-ramp. Coastal Mississippi. Let's look at the official forecast for rainfall. So this is all the way till May 9th here, the morning of May 9th. Flooding is definitely a huge issue today. Did they upgrade to a high risk? Let's see if they did. Very surprised they haven't upgraded to a high risk yet for flash flooding for today. But yeah, definitely could end up with a high risk for flash flooding across the eastern portion of that moderate area. Remember, a high risk for flash flooding is a 4 out of 4. It's not like your severe weather scale there. So right now it's a moderate. That's a 3 out of 4 for flash flooding. And definitely some big time flash flood concerns, especially in the southeast side of that moderate risk. So around and definitely south of Jackson, Mississippi, and around and definitely east of Alexandria in Lake Charles. I mean, that includes a lot of areas: Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Gulfport, Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. All those areas could get some big time flash flooding today. Pretty sure we have a flash flood watch out for much of that area. Here, we'll turn it on just briefly so we can see. Definitely not under tropics. Don't know why I clicked tropics. It's definitely going to be under warnings. Hydro. There you go. So this is your flood watch. Yeah, and that flood watch, that's across the entire state of Louisiana, man. The whole state of Louisiana under a flash flood watch. And then also into Jackson, Mississippi. Let's see what wording they have here. 4 to 6 inches of rain is forecasted across the area during this time frame. Locally, higher amounts are possible. And that's beginning late today. So huge flash flood watch out. That goes all the way back up into northeast New Mexico. So big time flash flood event. A big time flash flood event's going to happen specifically tonight into tomorrow. Especially overnight tonight. It's going to really be an overnight flood threat, I believe. Yeah, because look at all this rain starting up towards 6 p.m. tonight. And then that just pushes through the whole area overnight. And then the coastal areas get another wave of very heavy rainfall amounts tomorrow afternoon. So areas further south, like right in here, you guys could get significantly higher flash flood totals and rainfall totals there. We look at the NAM. Let's see. I haven't looked at precipitation products. There it is. I haven't looked at this in a very, very long time. Probably ever since hurricane season. Yeah, so you can see some local areas. Don't know if we'll actually get as high as 14 inches of rain, but I think locally higher than 6 inches of rain is going to be possible. See what the HRRR has. Oop, apparently that's too far out. Yeah, see, I think that's much more realistic, where we could get some isolated areas above 6 inches of rainfall. So just keep that in mind. Definitely a dangerous flash flood threat out here. Specifically into the evening hours, and then all overnight tonight, and then tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and even into tomorrow evening. I don't think this clears out. Yeah, rain doesn't really fully clear out until maybe Shoot, I don't even know what day it is. Today's Tuesday, so that would be Thursday. Yeah, even on Thursday, there's some rain still left over, but the main flash flood threat will clear out Wednesday, probably Wednesday night, towards like 6, 7 p.m. Central. A big time flash flood threat there. A little area rotation trying to spark up here, east of Marble Falls. That's going up towards Liberty Hill. So we'll keep an eye on that. But again, that is north of the main boundary, so there's definitely a few underperformance factors today. It's not a set in stone significant tornado threat today. I think messy storm mode and then that boundary not being very far north. Those are definitely some issues there. But the SPC is very, very confident. They're very confident in a strong tornado threat today. Tornadoes, potentially a few strong, can be expected. That's on the new SPC outlook there. And if you go to their tornado watch, a few tornadoes likely with a couple EF3 plus tornadoes possible, which are intense tornadoes. A couple intense, which are EF3 plus tornadoes possible. So SPC is very, very confident in today being a significant tornado day. But personally, I don't know. I think messiness might keep it back quite a bit. Especially looking at observations here. It's a good environment, that's for sure. That's why they have that 10 sig tore out. The environment is really, really good. So if any storm can get to that environment, it's definitely going to try to spin. But I think we have to wait till that boundary gets a little bit more north in an hour or two. And we'll see where we are at that point. Peak tornado that should be at 11 a.m. according to the HRRR. It's very difficult to predict where the peak activity is going to be. It's really hard to say. If these storms aren't clustered by noon or 1 p.m. Eastern, about 3 hours from now, then today's going to go crazy for tornadoes. Because the environment towards noon Eastern, 1 Eastern, like I said, about 2-3 hours from now, it's going to be a volatile environment. But we're hoping that all this stuff just congeals up into a big slop by then. All right, we did get a severe thunderstorm warning for Fort Worth. So if you are in Fort Worth, this storm has actually strengthened a lot. Specifically hail-wise there. You can see a hail core developing fairly east of Fort Worth and also a little hail core north of Fort Worth. So could drop up to 1-inch hail over the Fort Worth area if you are in Dallas, Fort Worth there. Now, if you're in, like, downtown Dallas, you're good. Just some heavy rain. But if you are in, like, western Dallas or especially anywhere around Fort Worth, going up towards Corinth in Texas, that's where it's going to be the worst for some small hail and gusty winds, probably 40 to 50 mile per hour gusty winds there. Still a very severe storm paralleling I-20 corridor here, going up towards Weatherford, Texas. That's going to be into Mineral Wells here in about 5 minutes. So, like I said, if you are stuck on the interstate here in front towards Weatherford, just pull over to an off-ramp and then go into a parking lot. Don't park under overpasses and do not pull over on the side of the interstates. That causes traffic jams and accidents. We'll see if they extend that severe thunderstorm warning currently Only 11 minutes left on that. Northwest Kansas? Nah, you guys are good. You guys are good. Southwest Kansas is just going to get a lot of heavy rain, but Northwest Kansas I think is going to be good, right? You could have some isolated thunderstorms tonight, especially towards like 6, 7 p.m. Central, but I don't think they will be severe, so I think you'll be fine. This storm still has that good supercellular structure to it. Still has a supercell look to it. Although I will say it looks a lot weaker, especially DBZ-wise. Yeah, we're down to 3 severe thunderstorms, so that's good. Robert, I think you're far enough north to where the worst of the storms will stay to your south, but you still need to be hyper weather aware. Especially as we get towards, there's going to be 2 to 3 different rounds today, maybe even more than that, depending on where you are. So you just want to really stay hyper weather aware, probably all the way till like 4 o'clock Central. Just keep an eye on it. But yeah, if you guys are just now tuning in or haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated. Helps us get out to the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell set to all. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. Probably by the end of the year is what I'm aiming for. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. No tornado warnings currently active. Gainesville, Texas, you are just going to get a lot of rain today. You're going to have to watch out for a thunderstorm with this cell. It's going to move up towards Gainesville in about an hour or so. I don't know if it will be strong enough to be a severe storm by then, but, you know, you'll just have to keep an eye on that. And then your main threat is with this line back here. That is moving up to the northeast. That's going to be probably 2 hours before it gets to Gainesville. So at least 2 rounds of potential severe weather for you up there. Mainly damaging winds up to 60 and some small hail possible. Not really anything too ridiculous. One thing I'm surprised about with the SPC outlook is how far northwest that hail risk goes. Look how far northwest that hail risk goes. I'm not too sure why it goes so far northwest. We could get an isolated supercell for hail back towards Lubbock late tonight, but that's really, really far northwest. I don't really know why they have that hail threat so elevated to the northwest. I think the best chance for up to 3-inch hail is going to be down in here. Because that's your front right in there. There's your front. That white line I just drew, that's your front. So anything behind that, we're really not going to see anything behind that. Maybe an isolated hailstorm tonight, but nothing that's going to be able to produce like 3-inch hail. So a little interesting on why they have that hail risk going all the way back to the northwest. Yeah, and then the wind risk, that's, you know, nothing special there. There's your tornado threat. So there's your significant tornado threat if you're in that yellow area. Or in the brown area too. That's 5% and then a 10 sig tor. You have the chance for a few tornadoes today. And a couple are expected to be strong. So we'll see how it verifies. Like I said, though, we do have a very messy, very, very messy storm mode. Really messy storm mode today. Close out this. Yeah, so if I want to show you guys satellite. If we go to satellite, true color. So there's three main bands that you can very obviously see. Three very main bands. This is your front right here. Your boundary is right in here. And these are where we're watching for prefrontal storms to fire. Really all in this area right in here. I could really just do one big circle. Right in this area is where we're watching for prefrontal storms to fire, which, if you don't know what prefrontals are, they're storms that are in front of the front. So there's your front is right back here. This black line right there is your front. So anything that fires in front of that is a prefrontal. So this right here, north of Austin, Texas, that is a prefrontal supercell. And all this mess that we're seeing is also a prefrontal mess. I wouldn't call it a supercell because it's just rain. It's prefrontal rain showers. Let me go back to this radar site again. It's just, there's so much rain going into this storm, I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't want to write off the event early. The SPC is still very confident in multiple tornadoes, a few being strong and possibly even a intense EF3 plus tornado or two possible today. But, and from my standpoint, it doesn't look like the best setup. The ingredients are impressive. That's what's impressive. I am quite impressed by the ingredients, but the storm mode I am not impressed by. For instance, look at this photograph here. Look at these photographs. I mean, these are very, very favorable for strong tornadoes. All out in the open, warm sector. Now, watch what happens when we get to the front. See how unfavorable they get behind that front? So we're not going to see much behind it. Up towards, like, Dallas, there's not much really good wind shear. Let's see what wind shear is. You're still up there in wind shear, for sure. You're lacking in CAPE this far north. That's what it is. There's not enough instability that far north. Yeah, 0, 26, 700, 1,600, 2,700. So you can tell your boundary is definitely... It's definitely right in there. Yep, there's your boundary. So your boundary's roughly in here. And then you have your cold front that is back out in this area. So those little storms there, let's go take a look at those. I want to go see those. How do they look? Very, very sloppy. This stuff is in a really good spot to try and become tornadic, but it's slop. It's really just full slop. So we'll see if those can strengthen up a lot or not. And then this west of Georgetown, you can see velocities are starting to get their act together right on the southeast edge of that hook echo. But there's so many cells going into that storm that they should be destructive. So the easiest way to put a photograph is like on higher end today's, that's what your storms are going to look like. So if I go back to it, taking this on satellite imagery here. So if we take one right in front of those storms that are firing, so that's how your storm's going to look like. It's going to have a hook like that. So basically just draw out like a reflectivity standpoint. That's what your storms could look like in the open warm sector. So there's a lot of winds. There's a lot of winds changing with height, and those winds are pretty strong. We can also see that from your skew T. You can see how these winds are changing direction with height. That's what we call wind shear. So there's very, very strong winds in the lower levels. So the more elongated and curved that hodograph is, the more favorable the environment is for tornadoes. So that is a classic hodograph for strong tornadoes there. That is a really, really, really good hodograph for strong tornadoes, because you're going to get a large, if something does fire, you could get a large supercell that looks like that with a huge hook. Really, really good lower level curvature there. The pink is your lower level, so that's your 850 millibar. This is your 850 millibar down to your surface. So you've got a lot of changing with height. But of course, you have to look at other things too. So if you just look at the hodograph, that's not going to tell the full story. You also have to look at other things. For instance, instability. It's only 659. I doubt we're going to have any supercells that sustain in that environment. It's too far north. If we go a little south, there you go. You still keep that decent hodograph, but now your instability is 2,000 because we crossed that boundary. And like I said, the environment, there's really not much wrong with the environment. The environment is really, really good. Let's see here. I don't know what significant tornado parameters you use. I don't look at STP. Yeah, there's your significant tornado parameters, and you can see they're very high. They are very high. No, actually, that is on mesoanalysis, so that's a wrap proximity sounding. So it's what the environment, it's a really good depiction of what the environment looks like right now. Which is why I said, it's a really, really good environment. It's just the fact we're getting messy storms, so we're just going to keep hoping that we see too many storms fire today and nothing's able to be discrete. We're just hoping to see a bunch of storms fire, which we currently are. The more storms, the better. As long as we get too many of them. Right now we have so many storms firing that nothing's really of concern because there's so many of them. They're all competing for that environment. So we'll see what the rest of today has to hold. We're getting a new model run in right now. Let's see what it shows. I'm just feeling like today might be too messy. We'll see. The new HRRR is crazy. That is for sure. So we don't want to take this too seriously because it is just a model run. But it definitely has a full outbreak happening here. So hopefully this doesn't happen. Hopefully that's just an overconvected mess. Raymond, did you think it's because I woke up 45 minutes ago and hit the live button? You want me to be disappointed that there's no tornadoes? I don't get what that question's supposed to mean there. No, I'm not disappointed. Why would I be disappointed? Yeah, I hope we don't get any tornadoes either, Jared. V, that might just be you, to be honest. Not today, but this year has been crazy for tornadoes. Hopefully, hopefully that's just for your area. You haven't really seen much tornadic activity. I wish that was the same for the whole U.S., but unfortunately, we've seen plenty of tornadoes this year. So, glad to hear that Indiana's been not very active, but unfortunately, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, they haven't been as fortunate this year. Especially Arkansas and Mississippi. We're currently sitting above average for our tornado season right now. But I don't think we're going to see many big outbreaks in May. So I think by the time we get back to June, I think we're going to be back to an average, tracking on average with our tornado season. Because we had such a crazy March and then a very crazy beginning of April. And I think we're going to, start to calm down a little bit here in May. Unfortunately, we have today to get through. I didn't expect to see a good tornado threat today, so hopefully we just see over-convection today and not much happens. Let's see. The NAM3K has that boundary staying very far south. It just doesn't get pushed northward until it's late. And by the time it gets pushed northward, everything's just a mess. Nope, I don't think San Antonio will get that bad. You'll have to watch out as the line moves through later today. That's going to be probably towards, like, what is that, 1 p.m. Central? But I don't know, even that might miss you. Right now, it's on track to miss you. Like, if it doesn't form any more south, I mean, it's just going to go to your north. You'll be fine. You might not get much more than just some rain today. But you are in you're in a marginal risk, so they're not expecting much in San Antonio. You can see you've got a severe watch a county to your west, and then a tornado watch a county to your north. So if you're in downtown San Antonio, I think you're going to be good. Let me go back to that severe storm. Okay, it's still a normal severe. So we're just watching these velocities here near Liberty Hill. Red is winds going away from our radar, so that's our radar site, that green dot. So these winds are going away from the radar, and green is winds going towards the radar. What's that detecting? It's detecting a little area of very, very weak rotation right here. I don't think it's tornadic at this point. It's too broad, very weak. And thankfully we're see all these rain showers here. They're all hitting that area of rotation and destroying it. It's what we call destructive cell mergers. We have constructive and destructive cell mergers. Constructive is where a cell merge happens and it increases the tornado threat and increases the storm's strength. And then destructive is, well, what we're seeing now, where a storm goes from nearly producing a tornado to now looking like just a normal thunderstorm, and still has some small hail in it, some lightning, but nothing like what it was an hour ago. Kyle, Texas. Yeah, so you're in the tornado watch. You definitely want to be hyper weather aware. There's nothing of great concern right now. And there's just a lot of uncertainty on how today's going to unfold. Any of these storms here could blow up into a supercell at any point. So we're just watching all of them to see if any of them actually do. But you are definitely under the gun. You're in the main threat for tornadoes today, so you definitely want to be hyper weather aware. Just in case you do end up getting anything. Chris, I think you're far enough north to where you're not going to get anything significant. You could still get 60 mile an hour winds. 60 mile an hour winds definitely possible. Very, very heavy rain are also possible. So I think you're good enough north to where we're not going to see anything insane up there. But that tornado threat does reach pretty far north. I believe you are in that 5%, right? Yeah. Yeah, see, you're in the 5% tornado risk, slight risk. So you're under the gun for all hazards. So you want to be weather aware. Severe storm continues. 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail tour possible. Still see that area of rotation. So they're still keeping with a low-end severe thunderstorm warning. Just in case it tries to get its act back together. Here, what I'm going to do is that satellite above my face cam, I'm going to switch it to that. There you go. Gives you a more zoomed-in view of the risk. So these storms are starting to get going out here towards Comfort, but they're not really becoming much robust thunderstorms yet. They're just very heavy rain with isolated lightning strikes. We're at 83 likes and about 250 people watching, so if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. And like I said, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. It goes to support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. CAPE values for today depends on where you're looking. In Houston, they're like 3,000, whereas in Corpus Christi, they're like 4,000. So you've got really good instability values. Right in here, you have really good CAPE. But guess what? That CAPE's never going to be used. We could get some thunderstorms in this area late tonight, but by the time that happens, the values are going to be decreasing. So let me show you our warm sector here. So there you go. See, you're closer to 3,000, 4,000 instability down here towards Corpus Christi. And then further north, it gets towards 2,000. This is still very favorable. And then right when you cross that boundary, you can see it divots and decreases from almost 2,000 to like 500 and then eventually to near zero. So that's another reason why this storm's very weak. It's likely just north of the main boundary. And then later on today, towards 4 p.m., you can see how far north we're going to start seeing instability. Most likely, your cold front's going to be back here. Actually, I think your cold front's going to be like that. Let's look. Yeah. So your warm front up there, and then your cold front would be back down here. So not much would actually happen further to the west there. So not much would happen west of this area. Even though you have all that instability available, there's no forcing mechanism. Your cold front would be to the east. So if you just have CAPE sitting there and no forcing mechanism, nothing is going to fire. Forcing mechanism could be something as simple as an outflow boundary from storms from the day prior or earlier in the morning. It could be a cold front, could be a warm front as well. But the main forcing mechanism is a cold front, and that's what we have here. Denton, you're about to be hit with some small hail and gusty winds. They haven't pushed that severe in yet. So if you are in Denton, you're not in a severe storm. You're likely looking at closer to half-inch hail and 40-mile-per-hour winds being possible. So not very... not a severe storm, but still definitely enough to stay away from doors and windows and don't go outside. Weatherford, Texas, you probably have a crazy shelf cloud approaching you right now. This is not severe, but it's still probably going to be able to produce about 30-mile-per-hour winds as it moves into Weatherford, Texas here in about 15 minutes or less. Let's see. Our chaser, Connor Croft, goes live here in 40 minutes. We'll see what he thinks about today's threat. It's sloppy. Let's see here. Norman, Oklahoma. Let me see if that line's going to get up to you. I don't think it will. Yeah, Norman, you're just going to get a lot of heavy rain and a bunch of lightning and thunder like you already are now. Norman just got hit with heavy rain and you're going to start hearing some thunder here if you weren't already. But likely nothing severe. Sloppy is very good. If we keep seeing this sloppy look, we're probably not going to get much tornadoes today. But we'll have to see how the sloppiness evolves. The environment's going to get better, especially towards 12 today. Towards noon. Hard to say what's going to happen. It's very difficult to say what's going to happen. We'll also have to watch the cold front, see if the cold front strengthens at all. See if the line on that cold front strengthens. But we're down to just 2 severes now. Just 2 severes remain. Let me see here. Still a lot of heavy rain, some lightning up here towards Florence. So we'll keep monitoring that. Just to see if anything strengthens. There's so many different scenarios for today. We just gotta hope everything stays messy. If everything just keeps staying messy, then we're not gonna see much. Regardless, though, damaging winds and large hail is gonna be an issue. And some models just have it staying messy all day. We don't see much more than 60 mile an hour winds and 1.5 inch hail if it just stays messy like that. That tornado watch goes for the next 6 hours and 43 minutes, so there's a very, very long tornado watch in effect. I think that goes to what, like 3 or 4 or something? Yeah, 4 local, 5 eastern. And so here's one scenario for today. This is just one of the many scenarios. You can see we continue to see that very messy look. This is in about 40 minutes here. So that storm stays south of Dallas. It's still very sloppy. And then towards noon, we start to see re-intensification of thunderstorms to the south. And then apparently there is a full tornado outbreak happening towards 1 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know about that. That's very tricky to say. And I mean, this particular run shows a very long-tracked tornado outbreak as well. Like, we could start seeing strong tornadoes out here, well northeast of San Antonio, northwest of Houston. And then that moves through western Louisiana, and we keep seeing strong tornadoes that whole time. And then we also have the NAM scenario, which that keeps all the prefrontals very messy. You can see there's your open warm sector. Very clear open warm sector, but it doesn't actually fire any prefrontals. I think that's a NAM biased, and it just keeps it as a big time damaging wind bag. Another reason for why it doesn't have prefrontals developing is because the front really doesn't start lifting until 2 p.m. Whereas on the HRRR, The HRRR has the front starting to lift here in an hour. The main boundary, I should say. Still a severe storm up there towards just west, or rather just south of Denton in Texas. So you're still in a severe storm if you are south of Denton, Texas. Mainly around 1-inch hail and around 50-mile-an-hour winds will be possible. Looks like that hail core is re-strengthening. It's definitely trying to re-strengthen there. Hello, Sydney. Gerald, Texas. Yep, you're starting to get some heavy rain. It is a tour possible severe, so make sure you're close to your safe spot just in case. It's still very, very messy. It doesn't have the good supercell look it did before. But you can see it's still... You can still make out some supercellular structure there. And there's your little area of rotation. It's still hanging on to that little mesocyclone there. But it's not tight at all. Not tight whatsoever. So it's no imminent concern for a tornado, but it is something you want to be, indoors, away from doors and windows, and make sure you're close to your safe spot just in case. Still something you want to be aware of there. Alright, let's go back over to... I want to go to this radar site. Yeah, nothing happening with that storm. What about this? Starting to get a lot more lightning east of Comfort, Texas. A lot more lightning, but no severe storm or technically strong storm. It's starting to intensify. We'll see if it gets there or not. But you can just see how messy and how sloppy it is. It's not well organized at all. Temple, Texas. Let me see. Temple, Texas. Hard to say with if this storm's gonna likely be a close call for Temple, Texas. It looks like it's heading up towards Temple, Texas, so you'll need to watch that. That will pose an all hazards threat with it, so we'll keep a close eye on that storm. It's currently way down here towards where is this? Florence, Gerald. That's where it is in Florence and Gerald. And that's going to move up towards Temple, Texas in like an hour or so. So you do want to pay attention to that storm. And there's still going to be a chance for more storms after this. Probably as the main front pulls through towards 1 p.m. Central. So you'll get at least 2 lines there in Temple, Texas. Just stay weather aware. Unfortunately, you're under the gun for all hazards, so a tornado is possible. But even on a higher chance for tornadoes like today, the chance of a tornado hitting Temple, Texas, and then hitting your town, your city, your street, and then your house, it's super low. It's super, super low. Even on a day like today when we have a pretty good threat for strong tornadoes. So, just stay weather aware and you'll be perfectly fine. You guys have been through probably hundreds of tornadic storms in Temple, Texas. Just stay weather aware. Kilgore, Texas. Your threat's definitely going to be later. You're in a pretty sure 5% tornado risk up there. Yep, 5% tornado risk. So just be weather aware. Keep an eye on things, and you'll end up being fine. I don't believe you're not in the prime environment. You're not in the best environment for tornadoes, but there's still the chance for a spin-up tornado that far north. We'll have to see how things evolve. There's a lot of uncertainty on how convection evolves today. Let's see here. Jeez, Oscar. Hopefully you're all right. That's crazy. All right, we'll wait for our... Actually, we just got our new observations. Let's see. I want to say I remember that one. May 22nd? Is that the one you guys are all talking about? You guys both, all three, four of you guys talking about the same tornado? May 22nd. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I remember that. Let me check. Yeah, I do remember being live on that day for sure. Yep. Jeez. I'm going back through my live stream. Man, yeah, that went right through. Dude, that was an insane supercell, though. That went through the southwest side of Temple, Texas. And through the west side as well. Gracious day. Yeah, I was live for 4 hours on that supercell. That was insanely strong. The radar presentation on that was just absurd. Any thoughts on the persistent hurricane of the GFS model? Man, it happens every year. Get ready to see at least 100 hurricanes on that model run, and probably about only actually 6 of them will actually happen. Maybe even a little less than that. It's not going to happen. There is a signal for tropical activity. I think we might have a possible tropical activity towards the middle of May, but it's not going to head towards the U.S., and it's not going to be a hurricane. I highly, highly doubt it. I know it's too early to say it's not going to be, but there's a very high chance it's just the GFS being the GFS. For hurricane season, you really can't use the GFS until like 120 hours out, but we're going to anyways. It's just take note that for hurricane season especially, after like 120 hours, the GFS model run is just horrible. So what I like to do is I like to use ensembles. The ensembles is what I use. Anything more than 120 hours out, and I try to just use ensembles. I guess I'll just show you guys really quick. You can see that yellow there in the Caribbean. That is a very weak signal for the chance of tropical activity. But there's no very well-defined area. You can see that it's been there for a few runs, for sure. If we look at the European ensembles, see if the Euro has it. The Euro barely has it, so I don't think it's going to happen. It's just models being models this early. But that is a good reminder if you guys do live along the Gulf coastline. We are approaching hurricane season. Hurricane season's like 3 weeks away. So make sure you got that hurricane preparedness plan starting to get it ready. Make sure you're starting to get it ready. It's hurricane preparedness plan week. I think that started, what's today? Tuesday? Yeah, I think that started Sunday, May 4th. Pretty sure that's when Hurricane Preparedness Week started. Still a little area of rotation there, north of Georgetown. As long as this keeps getting cell mergers, it's not going to be able to produce a tornado. But it has to keep getting cell mergers. If it stops getting cell mergers for, say, 15 minutes, this might be able to try and increase the area of rotation it has. So we'll pay very close attention to it. It is north of the boundary, which is really good. Like I said, anything north of the boundary has a significantly less chance for all hazards. Alright, no longer a severe storm over Denton. If you are in Denton, Texas, though, I mean, this is probably dropping near 1-inch hail. So if you're in Denton, downtown Denton, Texas, just make sure you're not outside. That's the main thing. It's that little tiny hail core. It's going to go right into Denton. And you can see this line, it's definitely a very obvious line, but it's a very weak line. Very heavy rain, frequent lightning, and maybe 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts with it, but it's very weak for how it looks. Like, it looks like it's a very significant line, but it's actually not producing probably much more than 20, maybe pushing 30 mile per hour wind gust. Might be a cell to watch right there. Looks like we're starting to get a bit of a supercellular shape out of this storm near Blanco in Comfort, Texas. That might be a storm to watch. Extreme coastal South Carolina. Like in terms of what? Severe weather or anything? I mean, you're going to have a lot of chances for rain, but I doubt we'll see anything severe. Maybe keep an eye on Friday, though. Friday doesn't look half bad. For hurricane season, though, I haven't really gotten into an analysis of it, but I think the East Coast has a better chance for tropical systems this year. I haven't really done my deep dive into hurricane season. We just hit 400 people in the live stream. I appreciate everyone being here. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe with the notification bell set to all. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers probably by the end of the year. So it's greatly appreciated. I'm going to go over to mesoanalysis here. Yeah, this storm's in a good environment. It seems like today's all going to come down to storm interactions. That's what it seems like. Are storms going to consistently be getting hit by cell mergers? Are they going to be clustered? Are they going to be able to stay discrete? How many are going to fire on the convective bands? We're just going to have to keep an eye out everything convection-wise. They did just severe storm this as well. So this is now a severe storm. 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds going towards Johnson City here, Blanco, Texas. All right, the SBC did just say a new severe watch will be needed here. So when does this severe watch expire? 25 minutes. Jeez. So a new severe thunderstorm watch will be issued for the potential of 2-inch hail, 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds, and a spin-up tornado, all being possible. And that is in this yellow area here. So this right in here from Waco, Texas, back up into Denton, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. A new severe watch will be issued here, probably in the next give or take 30 minutes. Unless they extend that watch. See if that watch was extended. Yeah, so they should have a new watch out before this expires. We'll see what they do. I don't know if they're going to... Sometimes what they do is they just extend the watch like another hour or two and then issue a new watch. Sometimes they let this watch expire. So 25 minutes, it could just expire, and then they'll issue a new watch altogether within the next 20 to 30 minutes. Let me go read their mesoscale discussion. Yeah, they say a replacement severe thunderstorm watch will be needed within the next 25 minutes. So, they actually say within the next 25 minutes there. So we'll keep watching that severe storm towards Johnson City as well. The one heading eventually towards Temple, Texas. Looks like it's starting to get its act back together. It looks a little bit more organized compared to 10 minutes ago. But it's going to be hit with a lot more cell mergers again. So as long as we keep seeing this destructive merger here, as long as we keep seeing all these destructive mergers in this storm, it's not going to be able to fully become tornadic. We just have to hope it keeps getting those cell mergers so that way it never produces anything. And it's already ran out of the main boundary, so the chance for it to be tornadic is decreasing. The more north it gets, the lesser chance it has for any severe hazards. Oops. There we go. Yeah, so, I mean, just look at this. It's a big mess, but unfortunately, we are getting a pretty good supercell to develop here near Blanco. So that one's going to definitely need to be watched. We'll see if anything gets going towards College Station or Rockdale or Marlin out of this band here. But that one's probably going to be an issue going towards Johnson City, Texas. So it depends on what boundary you're talking about. In this case, we have a warm front boundary. And that warm front, if there's anything on the front or south of the front, it's going to be able to try to produce all hazards in today's case because we have a good environment. So that primary front is located right up here. It's definitely started to move more north. Looks like it's north of Austin now. So this storm is fired south of that boundary. As long as it stays in that open warm sector, which is right here, you have your cold front goes down just like this. So your main open warm sector is right here. That's your main open warm sector at the moment. So as long as it stays in that area, which it definitely is, it is definitely staying in that area, then it's going to try to produce all hazards. This storm up here towards Clean, Texas, you can see it is north of that main boundary. Which is probably why it's only been able to produce very small hail and isolated damaging wind gust. And it's also getting a lot of cell mergers too, so this storm just overall, it's north of the best environment, and it keeps getting destructive mergers. You're welcome, Oscar. Thank you for the $2 donation. Let me go back to those other super chats. I don't think I... Yeah, Oscar, also thank you for the $5 donation and the other $2 donation. We'll see. Yeah, you can see a mesocyclone's getting going. Basically just meaning an area of rotation. Today definitely, today could be huge for tornadoes, but it all comes down to storm mode. And storm mode is so important. Storm mode is extremely important. It's not a bad idea, Rebecca. Yeah, you never know. Who knows if it'll work or not. If it gives you more comfort, yeah. Go outside, put a fan outside, try to blow the storms away. The good news is you're very far south, so you're like near Houston. I think the main storms are going to stay north of Houston. But you definitely want to keep an eye on it for sure. Stand outside with a fan, try to blow the storms away. Dylan, let's see. I hope school will get out before storms get there. I think storms are going to get towards that area. It's very difficult to say because I don't know how many are going to develop or when, but storm chances at least start to increase towards like 1 p.m. Central. But some models don't have the main line moving through until like 7. So your chances for storms in that area begins to increase towards like 1. Storm mode's looking very messy right now. There is one storm that I'm starting to keep a really close eye on towards Johnson City, but everything else looks very sloppy right now, which is exactly what we want to see. For a chaser perspective, this isn't what chasers want to see. But this isn't a very populated area, so I hope today doesn't do anything. Ask any chaser what their dream tornado is, and I guarantee you they're going to say a tornado in the middle of a field, probably in the panhandle of Texas, or what is it, southeast Colorado, I think I've heard is really good chasing terrain. That's what chasers want. They don't want, nobody wants to see a tornado in a populated area. No one. So, Gerald, you're about to be hit with, well, I mean, it's very loud out there. You're about to be hit with a bunch of lightning and maybe some small hail, very heavy rain. Very, very heavy rain. Look in the upper tilt. Yeah, it's definitely trying to develop an area of rotation. But again, it's all going to come down to destructive or constructive cell mergers, one or the other. Are these cell mergers going to help the storm or kill the storm? In this one's case, that is now right over Gerald, Texas. You can see here, if I pull this back, way back here, look at this. So it formed, and within 30 minutes, it started to try and rotate earlier this morning. Kept rotating, and there was no storms around it, so it just kept rotating, kept trying to produce a tornado. The first cell merge hit it over Marble Falls, and it never went tornadic again. See that? Tornado warned way back here. This was really early this morning, about an hour and a half ago, I believe. And that first cell merge, the first time it got hit by a cell merge, it immediately stopped being tornadic. So that was a very destructive cell merge that has literally destroyed this storm's entire lifespan worth of tornadic potential. Yeah, this one's really getting going. If you look above my face cam, you can see a separate anvil cloud structure beginning right where I just circled. And that's directly over Johnson City. Thank you, Oscar, for the $2 donation. Another $2 donation. Almost couldn't English there. We're now at over 500 people watching. There's still no tornado warnings, so plenty of time if you want to go ahead and hit that like button. Share the stream with your family, friends, on social media, wherever you want to. It's greatly appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button with a notification bell set to all. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll see how today plays out. It's still looking good. If for the general public, still looks pretty good. Like I said, from a chaser standpoint, this doesn't look the best. It's very sloppy right now, which means the tornado threat is, in the short term, at least low. I think the greatest tornado threat right now is by far with this cell here, but it's just now starting to form. So we'll have to see how strong it gets. It's also, literally, it just got another cell merge. So we'll have to just watch on it. All right. So, yeah, just make sure you're staying weather aware if you are in the watch areas. Where we should get a new watch up here for Denton, Texas, and areas pointing around that region, just generally up in here. We should get a new watch in the next, like, 10 minutes, maybe a little longer than 10 minutes. Let's see, is Connor going to go live? I know he had it scheduled for in 10 minutes. He's still keeping that, so really interested to get his opinion on today's threat. Oh, we just got a new severe watch. I'm guaranteeing it was probably directly over the Dallas area. They talked about issuing a new watch, and I bet they did. There's 5 chasers on the Gerald cell. Man, that thing's too far north. There's no way they're all committing to that storm. I would be going south. That's north of the boundary, north of the warm front. Let me get a Okay, so there's the one in Gerald. Yeah, look at this. This is its environment. Wild photograph. Absolutely wild photograph. But instability, you're only at 153. The mixed layer instability, that's what's carrying this storm. So instability a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, not surface based, just a little bit higher up in the atmosphere is 1044. So there's CAPE in the mid levels, and that's the only reason why this storm in Gerald, Texas is even surviving. But that photograph is crazy. The one back towards Johnson City, I think it was, Texas, right here, really good photograph. But look at the CAPE. Much better thermodynamics. 2,600 plus surface-based CAPE, 2,400 mixed layer. Really good wind shear. Not the best lower level wind shear, but we look for anything greater than 150, and that is 160, so it's sufficient. It's good enough. So I would be for, I don't know where I would be. I would definitely stay ahead of this storm, so I think I would be trying to find... Oh, man, that's tricky. I guess you would have to go right down here, just south of Johnson City. And then you're going to have to book it very far east and then northwest to try to make it up here in time again. So there's two different areas where I would want to be. Either in this intersection here between Johnson City and Blanco, or up here towards Lakewood. I would probably be on this one considering it's much closer. But that would be the storm I'd be chasing right now because this one's north of the warm front. You can see it still has a bunch of lightning, but even on that newest frame, it just keeps losing DBZ. Now the highest DBZ value is almost... It's not even 60 anymore, so... Yeah, they're not going to continue that severe. Seems like they're not going to continue that. So if you're in Temple, Texas, you're about to be hit with a lot of heavy rain. Yeah, you can already hear thunder in Temple, Texas. So it's heading up y'all's way right now. It's still weakening. It is still weakening. There's no signs of it strengthening at this point. Alright, there's your new severe thunderstorm watch. It goes a lot further east than I thought. But there's your new severe thunderstorm watch. Just got issued there. So this is actually... You may think this is bad news because it's a thunderstorm, right? But this is actually good news because that's a thunderstorm watch. That means they don't believe the tornado threat is going to be high enough to warrant a tornado watch up here. However, it is just 10% off of being a tornado watch, so it is very close to a tornado watch. But the main hazards here is definitely hail, actually, is the main hazard. Hail is the main hazard on this watch, followed by wind, and then the lowest probability is tornadoes. So if you are anywhere in this new severe thunderstorm watch, which I know we had some viewers near Tyler, Texas, your tornado threat actually, the SPC believes will be a little bit lower. Even though a good chunk of that is actually in the 5% and even a small portion in the 10 significant tornado risk, they've issued a severe watch and not a tornado watch for you. How far does that... Not how far. How long does that go? Till 5 p.m. Eastern. Real quick, I do want to pull this up before we start getting a bunch of warnings here. Okay. Waiting for the new HRRR. I was gonna pull it up, but it ain't in yet. All right, let's go back to this storm here towards Johnson City, Texas. Not looking too good still. So that's really good news. As long as we keep seeing this messy look to everything, we're going to be fine today. But all it takes is one storm in that warm front. Latched onto the warm front or in the warm sector. And we could see a strong tornado today. So that's why we have a big 10 significant tornado risk out. Literally, if we just get a single discrete storm inside of that warm sector, which is currently in the enhanced risk area, it's only on the southwest portion. If we look here, yeah, you can see that primary boundary right in here still. And if we take that off, there it is compared to the SPC outlook. So only the southwest side of that enhanced risk is favorable for tornadoes at the moment. All right, no longer a severe storm. So if you are in Gerald, Texas, you just got hit with a lot of heavy rain and a very, very, very loud and just overall energetic thunderstorm here. A lot of lightning. A lot of lightning around the Gerald area. Maybe some small hail up to pea-sized and maybe some gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour. But the biggest issue there was probably all the lightning and just the sudden amount of heavy rain right over the I-35 corridor. Tornado threat with this storm is rapidly decreasing. It's no longer even severe. So if you're in Temple, Texas, you're probably not going to get anything too crazy out of this storm. Just a lot of lightning and heavy rain. So if we go to our MRMS, you can see this batch of just a big clustering mess of thunderstorms. And what that allows for is that allows for all these storms trying to compete for the same environment. It also allows for storms to impede on other storms. For instance, this storm, which is trying to rotate, it's just got hit by another storm. You can see here. So this storm hit this storm. That's what we call a cell merge. And because of that, it actually hurt the storm. So this storm is undergoing a cell merge where two storms combine into one. Sometimes it can be a constructive cell merge. Sometimes it can be destructive. There's really like a 50-50 shot at it. And in this case, it looks like it's being destructive for the moment. It looks like it's hurting this storm more than helping it. Still warned for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Alright, let's see if the new HRRR shows anything different. Yeah, it has a lot of supercells firing near San Antonio. All in this area here in the next hour. The HRRR does this all the time, though. What it does is, so every hour we get the HRRR, so we just got a new one, and it shows supercells firing in an hour. At the next HRRR here in 1 hour, it's probably going to push that back, and it keeps pushing back the threat until eventually the threat just never happens. So that's why we don't like to use model runs day of, but yeah, I still look at them, to be honest with you. I always look at, especially simulated reflectivity, just because, you know, why not? But ingredients-wise, you always want to use mesoanalysis. Which, speaking of mesoanalysis, there's 4,500 CAPE in South Central Texas right now. But that's not going to be used up because storms are staying north. So we have like 4,500 CAPE down here. But I don't think that environment's going to be used. We'll have to still watch this. I mean, it still has some red and green with it, but it's just it's getting so many cell merges. We'll see. So there's your broader look here, where we're tracking for the potential of a couple tornadoes today over South Central Texas. Not really anything concerning at the moment. We do have that one severe in Johnson City, Texas. So if you are in Johnson City, Texas, just make sure you're away from doors and windows. And don't go outside. Okay. So we'll just keep an eye on it. It's just one severe storm, so not much happening at the moment. We're down to just one severe for the next 14 minutes. And the HRRR, dude, it is switched up every run. Look at the last 4 runs of the HRRR here. This is why it's annoying looking at model runs day of. You're really not supposed to because they're not very accurate, but this is the run from 4 hours ago. You can see it's a very sloppy cluster. Run from 3 hours ago, still very sloppy cluster. 2 hours ago, now there's supercells everywhere. The newest one, now there's a little cluster of supercells further south. It just keeps switching. It just keeps switching. So we're gonna just have to watch. That is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna have to watch, wait, and see if anything can get going out here. Henderson, Texas today. Let me see. Tornado threat's very low. You just got put into a severe watch. So you still have the chance for a brief tornado today, but considering they just issued a severe watch and not a tornado watch, the tornado threat seems to be downtrending over here. So just stay weather aware, but you're pretty far north to the point where I don't think you'll see anything tornadic, really. There's still a chance, but it doesn't look likely. So here's your tornado risk today. I'll go ahead and show it here from the SPC. So there's your best chance for a strong tornado today. It's in that yellow hatched area, but you could also see a isolated strong tornado, specifically in the southern portion of the brown area. The more north you get past like Waco, the less chance for a tornado there is. So north of Waco, that's where your tornado chances start to decrease. So that is good news. If you are in Waco, you still have the chance for a strong tornado, but north of Waco is where those chances start to dwindle off. So like Dallas, Tyler, Longview, Fort Worth, your chances of tornadoes today are very, very low. The highest strong tornado threat is focused in this corridor here from about Austin, Clean, Texas, back into Huntsville, Beaumont, Texas, and then into far west central Louisiana, into Leesville, Minnie, northwest of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Your damaging wind threat, we're thinking storms should combine and congeal into a line. So your best wind threat is back towards Huntsville, all the way towards almost Alexandria, Louisiana. Huntsville, Texas to Alexandria, Louisiana. Hail threat, best chance for very large hail is if we see any prefrontals really get going in here, they could produce upwards of 3-inch hail. The SPC did say 4-inch hail was or no, not 4-inch hail. They said 3-inch hail was likely today, so they believe 3-inch hail is going to occur. All right, there's our chasers. There's Connor Croft too. A few more chasers going live now. Let's see where this guy is. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Connor's target area is the I-10 corridor. So that's down in here. Interesting. The 10 Sig Taurus barely even for that region, but that's where Connor Croft's target area is. I mean, that's where the HRRR has been consistent on at least one supercell firing down there. Don't know how many, but at least one supercell on most of the HRRR runs have fired a strong tornado threat down there. So we'll need to keep an eye on that, see if any of these rain showers turn into larger rain showers. And if they do, then we'll know there's a good chance for a strong tornado here. Yeah. Trying to listen to the chaser's opinion today. It seems like most of them are starting to think like generally from east of San Antonio back out towards almost the Louisiana-Texas border, like right in here is the best tornado threat. That's what it sounds like. Which the ingredients are definitely the best in that area, but the question is there going to be any storms? And are those storms going to be clustered or discrete? But we'll see. Seems like that's where chasers are the most confident in a tornado threat. From about College Station back towards east of San Antonio along the I-10 corridor, back up towards like near Houston, and then all the way towards like Jasper. So generally this area. If that does happen, supercells will fire within the next 2 hours. If we don't see storms fire before 1 p.m. Eastern, which is an hour and 52 minutes away, then I don't think it's going to be a strong tornado threat down there. At least not to the extent of what the HRRR is showing. All right. Connor is on this storm here in Johnson City, Texas, but it looks like there's too many storms around it. I mean, it just keeps getting all these cell mergers, so. Still looking good today. No signs of a crazy tornado threat developing anytime soon. But we will have to watch very closely. I'll go show you satellite imagery. I'll do it on GR Earth because GR Earth satellite is much better than Radar Omega's. But we're going to watch, according to cloud cover, if we were going just off of cloud cover, this is the main area. Based off of just looking at cloud cover and destabilization. Yeah, these storms here. But can any of them become robust? That's the question. No longer a single severe active. We are severe warning list. Look at that. We are no longer under any severe warnings here. My question is it just the HRRR that shows those supercells forming? Let's see. Go look at some other model runs. Oh, there's a few model runs that support supercells there. Timing is a little uncertain. It seems like around or just before 1 p.m. Oops. I do want to give you guys an early heads up here. Let me show you. I do want to show you guys this. It looks like we are likely going to have a significant threat for severe weather towards the middle of May. These are very significant signals for severe weather. These are your ensembles, your GFS daily ensembles. And we haven't seen a signal like this in about a month. It's been about a month, a little over a month, since we've seen a good signal for severe weather like this. So we're probably going to be dealing with another threat for significant severe weather sometime around or after May 13th. If we look at your individual ensembles, you could see these, darker colors here that are into the thousands. Basically, what that means is there's just a better chance for tornado ingredients. And all of them are really at or after the 13th. Now this, don't take this map seriously with how widespread it is, but that's just agreement on where ensembles think. This is where they think supercell ingredients may be in place in the middle of May. So just an early heads up there. It's very, very early to be talking about this, but ensembles are lighting up like crazy. So I'm pretty confident we'll have the chance for at least some significant severe weather, probably towards what's the biggest day here? Tricky. Yeah, the timing is definitely different. So the Euro has May 17th. The GFS has May 15th. The Canadian has May 14th to 15th. So a lot of different timings, but it looks like we'll at least have the chance for a significant threat of severe weather. I don't know about the tornado threat or anything like that or what hazards, but just a chance for severe weather should increase after May 13th. So we'll get through today, see what happens today. Tomorrow we probably will have a marginal, I imagine. Yeah, there's a coastal marginal for wind and hail in southeast Texas. So enjoy the break while it lasts. Today is our last day of severe weather, all the way probably till like the 13th. So probably all the way till the 13th. We might have a good almost week without any severe storms to track. Or much severe storms to track. New severe for Temple, Texas. So if you're in Temple, Texas, get away from doors and windows. This thing is electric. Very, very electric thunderstorm heading into Temple, Texas. So if you are in Temple, Texas, make sure you're away from doors and windows. A very, very electric thunderstorm there. So we'll keep watching it very closely to see. I am a little worried for that southern side because there's not many cell mergers there, but it's north of the boundary. So if it looked like this 2 hours ago when we started stream, I would be very worried for a tornado threat. But thankfully, it's north of that boundary. It's away from the best ingredients. So the main issue with this is going to be very heavy rain, small hail, potentially isolated large hail up to an inch in diameter, and upwards of 60 mile-an-hour winds. So I don't think there's a tornado threat with this storm. I do want to keep an eye on that southern end going towards like Holland, Rogers, the south side of Temple, Texas, but I don't believe that's going to pose much of a tornado threat. We're just going to have to watch that I-10 corridor very closely from east of San Antonio all the way towards Houston to see if anything can develop in this area over the next hour or two. No, I don't believe that Temple, Texas storm has much of a tornado threat. I don't think so. I think it will stay mainly as big time lightning. I think lightning is the biggest issue. Oh, also for the Dallas-Fort Worth area, probably a big-time shelf cloud moving through right now if you are in Fort Worth. Downtown Fort Worth, probably a huge shelf moving in. See if I can get a camera there. Geez, a lot of fog. For some reason, this camera's got a lot of fog around it. Nah, no good cameras. I'm sure this has a shelf on it, though. I can nearly guarantee it. Let's go get a 3D view of it. I'm gonna go get a 3D view of it, because that with how sharp that is, I'm pretty sure that's gonna have a good shelf cloud. And very electric, too, so just don't go outside and you'll be good if you're in Fort Worth. It's hard to tell because it's right over the radar site. Yeah, I imagine that's going to have a shelf. Probably. With how sharp that heavy precipitation is, I imagine it has a shelf cloud. I can go look for some storm photos there. Let's see. Yeah, this storm going into Fort Worth looks like the main issue's really just going to be very heavy rain. So the biggest threat is if you're driving. If you are driving in Fort Worth, you might want to just pull over into a parking lot, just get off the interstates. Don't go under overpasses, especially if you are driving, right out in front of this storm. It is about to slam that area. So anywhere from it's this whole line, this whole area here. Just people, I know for sure there's going to be some people who decide to just pull over on the side of the interstate, and that's what's very, very, very dangerous. Also, a new severe storm for just east of Dallas. So if you are just east of Dallas, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning for Garland, Princeton, McKinney for 1-inch hail, 50 mile-an-hour winds. Make sure you're indoors, away from doors and windows there. I don't think any of this is going to work. There you go. That's your terminal radar. This is really strengthened as it's approaching Fort Worth. It is really strengthened going into Fort Worth now. Very electric thunderstorm there. Jeez. Might be a little area of rotation starting up. I mean, if this was south of the boundary, y'all, this would be a strong tornado threat. Easily. This would already be a strong area of rotation and probably tornado warned if it was south of the boundary. But because it's north of the boundary, it doesn't have really good ingredients. Because this is looking very, very classic. That is a very classic supercell. But all because it's north of that boundary, it's not going to be tornadic. Although it looks very tornadic, doesn't it? This looks extremely tornadic. But it's north of that boundary, so it isn't. Let's see. Do we have anything? Oh, yeah, we have a new mesoanalysis, so we can actually see if that boundary's moved more. Yeah, so the reason why it looks like a classic supercell is because of that hodograph. Really, really good hodograph. Awesome curvature in that hodograph there. And you can see pretty much no good instability. A little over 400 instability. That's not really sufficient in Texas this time of year. So, thankfully, that instability is not too far north. It's getting there, though. I mean, considering there's 500 CAPE in this area, that boundary is definitely moving. It's trying to get up. Try that for clean. Yes, but I think the main threat's going to stay off to your east. Storms look very messy around the clean area. Your main threat is probably going to be with this little line here moving through in about an hour or so. But I think the tornado threat, you're in a risk for tornadoes. I just think it's underperforming right now. Because storms have stayed very messy. In Oklahoma? Where exactly? I mean, there's a lot of lightning all over the place, especially Ardmore. Excuse me. I think you're around Ardmore. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you're in a special weather statement in Ardmore for 40-mile-an-hour winds. I don't think Storm are in the main part of the 10 sig though. No, we're waiting to see if any supercells fire here. If these don't fire into supercells, then we're probably not going to have a notable tornado threat today. It all comes down to these few little updrafts down here. So we're just going to wait and see if they really get going or not. Morning, Chip. Austin? Let's see. I don't know why I keep forgetting where Austin, Texas is. You're not in the clear. There's just a lot of heavy rain around you. So you won't be in the clear until the cold front passes, probably. I gotta find out. So Austin's right there. Yeah, you won't be in the clear until like 2 p.m. Central. However, like I said, because these storms are so messy, I don't think you're in the main threat today. You are under that tornado watch, though, and the front won't pass you until late tonight, or rather late this afternoon. Let's see here. Okay. Where's the warm front right now? Let's check. Okay, this hasn't updated in a little bit, but I mean, it's better than not seeing it. So there's your warm front right in there. So it's still north of Austin, Texas. Lucky's coming home to stream. That is a miracle. Holy crap, Lucky's about to... Lucky going call. That's crazy. It's a miracle. Something's gonna come up and he's not gonna be able to stream. I was shocked to see him text me. I dropped my back of my mouse cover. I need to get it. I'll turn off my camera real quick. Hello, Ashley. Glad to see you in here. Rose, Katie, Bree, WW, Marcus, James. Glad to see you guys all in here. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We're getting very, very close to 10,000 subscribers. Since there's no warnings right now, no tornado warnings, I'll put it up. So, yeah, this number, yeah, this was at like 9,000 like a week ago. So we gained like almost 400 subs in a week. That's just insane. We're getting so close to it too. Super, super close. I know 700 is still a lot of people, but compared to the 9,359 that we've gotten to subscribe here, 700 doesn't seem like it's going to be too far away. 700 more there. So I appreciate everyone for supporting the channel recently. I greatly appreciate it. They did just put Tor Possible on this storm, just in case. They did just upgrade that to a Tor Possible Severe. Can I get your autograph while it's cheap now? That's crazy. So they did Tor Possible this storm in Temple, Texas. So just make sure you're near your safe spot if you're in Temple, Texas. I don't believe this is going to be tornadic, but just in case they put Tor Possible there. And it doesn't hurt to just, you know, better safe than sorry there. But yeah, there's no clear rotation on radar at all. Just the structure of it was interesting enough and a little bit concerning to the point where they put Tor Possible on it just in case. It did it. It looked tornadic. It definitely did. It looked tornadic for sure. But because it was north of that boundary, it didn't have much rotation with it. But if we go back to it, I mean, yeah, that scan right here, like I said, if it was south of the boundary, this would have been tornado warned in a heartbeat. A huge supercell with that good of a hook echo. I mean, look at that. Looks like a huge beast of a supercell trying to put down a strong tornado until you switch to velocity and realize there is absolutely nothing there because it's north of that boundary. So it's just got winds maybe as high as 60. That hail threat probably around 1-inch hail. And it does have a Tor possible severe just in case. A new severe over Blooming Grove, Oak Valley, Dawson for the potential of 1-inch hail and around 50 mile-an-hour winds. A lot of lightning, very heavy rain, and some small to isolated large hail there. But man, Fort Worth just got slammed. Fort Worth just got absolutely slammed there by a, technically not even a strong line. It's not a special weather statement, so you can't call it strong. But, I mean, probably produced 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. Wouldn't be shocked if it did produce a little bit higher than that. That's going to knock a few people without power there. Definitely going to knock out some power. Still no very clear signs of any robust thunderstorms along the I-10 corridor. We'll just keep watching it. Just in case. Where it's so difficult to see the I-10 corridor on meso-analysis. I'll go off of radar. Okay, so it's like right here. So this is near the I-10 corridor. When I zoom in, it's not going to be anywhere close. This is still from the I-10 corridor. Here, let me redo that because it just doesn't look right. See, it's literally the same. Yep, there's your problem. Warm nose. You've got some capping in place. There's your problem. Very obvious problem right there. So you've got a cap that is still in place somehow. And that's not being detected towards the surface. So it is a mid-level capping. A mid-level capping inversion. So that's why we're seeing rain fire, right? You can see these rainstorms, they're all firing, but they keep dying out before they can become thunderstorms. And that's because of this little slot right here towards the about 750, maybe 800 millibar level. Wild photograph, though. And I mean, everything else is good. I don't even need to look at it. I already know all this stuff's sufficient. Lapse rates are a little lacking, so lower level, those are right off the bat two things that I notice in terms of prefrontal convection. Lower level lapse rates are quite weak, and the warm nose at 800 millibars, maybe 750 millibar. There we go. So we'll see if any of these updrafts survive. We're just going to keep getting rounds of updrafts. Will any of them survive today? We'll see. If they do survive, they are going to try to become strong tornado threats. If they don't, well, then today's not going to be a big tornado issue. It fully revolves around those storms firing. Fully revolves around him firing up. I mean, that just looks insane. If you don't look at velocity, that just looks crazy. Thank goodness this is north of the boundary. And these storms are just small to large hail threats and then lower end wind threats at the moment. So still a big slop here. No very organized convection tornadic-wise, but we still do have that one cell over Temple, Texas. That thing's been a long-tracked supercell for probably like the last 3 hours. I woke up at 8 and I saw that was forming. Oh no, I woke up at 9, my bad. 8 Central. Yeah, so that's been going ever since 8 o'clock Eastern time, so yeah, I woke up and that was tornado 1. So this is 8 o'clock and it was a severe warning. Then when I woke up at 9 right here, that's what I saw. And then I went live within like 15 minutes. So this thing's been alive for a long, long time. So Temple, Texas, still very heavy rain, a lot of lightning around you. I think the hail is staying to your south. The tornadic potential that this storm barely has is definitely staying to your south. All right. New SPC Outlook will be out here in an hour at 12:30 p.m. It looks crazy. It definitely looks crazy. But like I said, when you switch to velocity, there's no rotation there. See if it's in the upper levels at all. Nope. I'm gonna get GR2 real quick. GR2 can go much higher in tilt than Radar Omega. Nope. See, there's no rotation even in the upper levels either. There's nothing there. Oh, it does have a tiny little couplet. It does have 20 mile an hour rotation now, but that's not enough to produce a tornado. So it might have a tiny little wall cloud trying to go with it. I know if I were chasing that, I would be freaking out. Because I've never seen a storm like that before. From a IRL perspective, I've seen hundreds of them from radar, but none of them actually near me that I've chased. All right. Let's go back south again. Yeah, so you can see these storms, they're not doing too good. Just sloppy mess. We just got something new. What was that? Something just updated. I don't know what it was. It was something with a flash flood warning somewhere. Oh yeah, it might have been this flash flood warning over Temple, Texas. Might have been that. I just saw something change on the map. Yeah, also, it's worth noting that we have like 70-degree dew points across the I-10 corridor. So 72, 73, 75, 77, 77, just barely to the west of Houston. So you're talking about a fully saturated environment. So these storms, if we do end up getting tornadoes out of anything here along the I-10 corridor, it will be very, very, very highly precipitation supercells. Heavily, heavily rain wrapped and a lot of rain. That's why we have a big time flood threat today too. But 75-degree dew points here. That's crazy. It seemed like they're trying to develop there. Seems like they're trying, but that little warm nose at 750 millibars, it's going to keep choking off the updrafts like it's been doing all day. That should erode. Let me go to... I have satellite right here. Yeah, that should erode with time. So in an hour, that should be gone. We'll see. We get another mesoanalysis here in 30 minutes, so we'll see if that shows anything weakening for the capping there. But we have a very obvious warm nose. Dallas, depends on where. If you are like northeast of Dallas, like Rockwell, McKinney, Princeton, that's a severe storm for 1-inch hail, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and a lot of lightning, very heavy rain. If you are in downtown Dallas, you're about to be slammed by a big line of 20 to 30-mile-an-hour winds, very frequent lightning, and very heavy rain. And it will probably have a pretty cool cloud structure with it too. Probably a shelf cloud. But it's not a it is not a severe storm, so that's good. The lines, believe it or not, it looks really intense, but it's actually not as strong as we were thinking. We were thinking we'd have a full line of 60-mile-an-hour winds all the way from Dallas, potentially all the way even down towards almost San Antonio. But instead, it's a very broken line, so only some areas along this line, specifically over the Arlington going into western Dallas, may be producing 40, 30, 40-mile-per-hour winds, but nothing seems to be close to 60-mile-an-hour winds just yet along that line. Let's see. Good morning, Lucky. Get out of my chat. Yeah, Temple, Texas, you're just getting a lot of lightning. Yeah, you're just getting a lot of lightning there as well, to the southwest of Georgetown. Just a lot of lightning, heavy rain. Now, you are in a strong, severe, or not a severe, you're in a strong storm, so a special weather statement is considered a strong storm. 50-mile-an-hour winds, nickel-sized hail, so very low-end hazards, but, you know, you could get some gusty winds, very small hail there. No tornado threat with this storm. It's looking less and less likely. The more we go on with time here, the less likely I see our tornado threat being, or our tornado threat verifying. The more we go on, the less likely our tornado threat seems to verify here, because this stuff is just messy. The front is already passing the western risk area, so The main thing to keep an eye on is these showers down here. See if those can really get developing or not. Columbus, Texas. Let me see. Yep, you're right along the I-10 corridor. That's where we're watching to see if anything develops. Have no idea, though. Dude. Give me a second. There we go. Yeah, there is a tornado possible tag in Temple, Texas, but the rotation is not very strong. It is the area of concern is actually southeast of Temple, Texas now. So Temple, in terms of severe weather, you're good now. You're still in a severe storm, but the actual severe part of the storm is right in here. And that's off to your southeast. So if you're in like downtown Temple, Texas, all that's left is heavy rain. Very heavy rain. Holland, Texas. Let me see. Check Holland real quick. No, you're not fully in the clear. You're in the clear from this storm. There's another storm to the southwest that is probably heading up your way. And then after this passes you, see all this mess back here? That's where our front is. So once you get behind that, you're in the clear. So you still probably have a good solid 2 hours of severe weather left. Then I saw someone put another town name in. There we go. Okay, so you're northeast of Denton. You're almost in the clear. However, you got one big last storm to go through. Very frequent lightning, very heavy rain, and 30-mile-an-hour winds possible. And then once you get past that, there's some very light rain showers behind it, but you're in the clear severe-wise. So you have about 10 minutes before the storm hits you, and then you'll be inside that very heavy rain, frequent lightning for about 15 minutes. Gerald? Pretty sure Gerald, Texas is just finished a storm somewhere. Okay, let me just find Gerald. There we go. Yeah, you just finished with this storm, but you have another storm to go through. So you got to get through another storm here right along the I-35 corridor for Gerald, Texas. And you're going to stay in this storm for probably about an hour. And then, like I said, same for the other person near your area. You got to get past this front back here. Once you get past that front, you're in the clear. So you probably still have another two solid hours of severe weather. And these storms are moving, well, you know what? Actually, this is moving northeast, but the actual cold front is moving east. So it might not be too long because this front is going to slam these semi-discrete storms. So it may not be 2 hours. It may be a little bit less than that. New severe for Highway 77 over Rosebud, rather. Keeping a tour possible severe 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds for the next about 56 minutes here. Trying to get a little tornado threat going up there. So we'll watch that very weak area of rotation. Finally, Ben. About time you tune in. You're only almost 3 hours late. Bro, even Ben, even Lucky beat you to the live stream. Like, come on now. Ain't no way you slept in that late. I'm gonna go text Lucky. Oh, man, I forgot I gotta do that. I almost accidentally created a poll. In me and Lucky's TMs. It's barely 11. Yeah, it's almost 12 my time, but 11 years. I live in the past. You haven't missed much. There was a few tornado warnings early this morning, like 7 a.m. Central. I don't think any of them produced. And then after that, once we went live as a tornado warning expired, so. Oh no, Connor's stuck in traffic. He's in Austin, Texas right now, so he's got his target's the I-10 corridor, so we'll see. We'll see where he ends up going exactly. He just knows he's got to get east. Rogers, Texas. You're almost in the clear from this severe storm. You probably got about 60-mile-an-hour winds, and your town actually reported 1-inch hail there. Someone in your town, the general public reported quarter-sized hail in Rogers, Texas. But you won't be in the clear until that front passes you. Everybody's got to get through the front. So there's multiple storms in front of the front that are developing. You got to get past this right in here. Once you're past that, you're in the good. And you're all clear. So Fort Worth is almost past that. Fort Worth, you're really past it. If you are in Fort Worth, you just have some moderate rain left for about the next hour, and then you're completely in the clear for the rest of the day. You got to get past the front. All right, new mesoscale discussion. The SPC said a few strong tornadoes are possible. Tornado threat is increasing into the early afternoon. And that's across pretty much almost the whole tornado watch. The primary limiting factor on 12Z soundings was a moist neutral lapse rates in the lower levels. Yep. We talked about that lack of lower levels. There's also a warm nose. I don't think they mentioned that here. However, at least some heating is already occurring on the southern side of the front, which should result in low 80 temperatures and a much more favorable lower level lapse rate environment. Therefore, the concern is increasing for an evolving tornado threat across east central Texas. A few tornadoes, and some of which could be strong, as well as an expected threat of several supercells south of the warm front. Large hail also could be an issue. Cloud cover has been the issue, and that's why we're seeing a lack of lower level lapse rates. So the tornado threat is expected to increase. It is expected to increase. It's expected to continue to increase till 1:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll see if they have any new MCDs out at that time. All right, Connor is booking it east right now. So he's going to book it east through Austin. And I imagine he's just going to keep going east, southeast. I don't know if he wants to get as far south as the I-10 corridor. I think I would go towards maybe LaGrange or around that area. I don't know if I would get on the I-10 corridor. Maybe a little bit east of that. Indiana's not going to get anything severe today. Yeah, you're just going to get the northeast side of Indiana, some light rain today. That's it. I don't think you're going to get anything else anywhere in Indiana. Very late tonight, maybe some light rain showers near Evansville, southwest Indiana. You're really in the clear. All right. Let's see this new HRRR run, see if it does something crazy. Over 26,000 people without power now in Texas due to these storms. Yeah. Let's see here. I don't know if I have enough confidence in these supercells. What do you think, Ben? What are you thinking? I don't know. Because these supercells are not firing. Like I said, they have, in my opinion, they have till 1. If they don't get going at 1, then they may not get going today. Those lower level lapse rates might be too low. We'll keep an eye on Rosebud, too. Still a severe storm there. Give me a moment. Okay. New SPC outlook here in 30 minutes. It's really it's almost a perfect environment. It really is. Except for the lapse rates. But like if we just exclude the lapse rates, you've got 75 temperatures, 71 dew points, 3,000 instability, 200, 250, 0 to 1 kilometer SRH, 450, 0 to 3 kilometer SRH, so your ingredients aren't being like overdone. It's really just the lower level lapse rates are too low. They're like, what? I think it was like 4. It was horrible. Let me go check. Oh, jump scare tornado warning. So they did tornado warn that. It's got enough rotation on it to warrant a warning.
Tornado warning for West Central Robertson County in Central Texas, North Central Milam County in Central Texas, East Central Bell County in Central Texas, Southeastern Falls County in Central Texas, Bell, Falls, Milam, and Robertson County in Texas.
You know what that means? That means the warm front is starting to catch it. The warm front is starting to get far enough north to where this storm is now getting tornadic again. So your warm front's pushing more and more north, and it's probably... I imagine the storm's probably on the warm front, or maybe just a little bit north of it, but the warm front's got to be very close to this storm. So almost 4,000 people under a tornado warning now. New tornado warning was just issued. So make sure you're in your safe spot there. That's Rosebud. Rosebud, Texas, inside a tornado warning. I mean, it's classic. It is classic. Look at that. Jeez. Really, really classic supercell there. So even though it might be a little bit elevated, it's likely trying to produce a tornado. And I mean, that's a ridiculous look. Let me go back towards here. So if you are in Rosebud, Texas, Wilson, Terry Chapel, Zipperlinville, Burlington, this is a potential tornado trying to head right towards your location. You can see that rotation is finally getting its act together directly over Meeks. I'm going to go take my analysis radar to here. So that rotation is finally starting to get its act together. It's still not like strong rotation or anything, but it may be enough to drop a tornado, which is why we have a tornado warning. Just a very classic supercell. So I think the warm front has caught this storm. At least a little bit of the warm front has definitely caught this storm, because that's why we're seeing it intensify further. This is going to be heading right for Rosebud. So if you're in Rosebud, Burlington, I mean, it's heading right for you guys. Still have a really, really good arcing here. As long as we keep that, we could just continuously see hook echoes from it. So you've got this ridiculous arcing right in here. You've got a completely unimpeded, uninterrupted, large inflow. This whole area is a huge inflow. So this storm can just continuously be getting fed wind shear. And since it's on the southern end, I don't think it's going to have much of a cell merger issue. So finally, those cell mergers have stopped hitting it. And they've stopped hitting it right as the warm front has pushed more to the north. And this is in our 10 sig tornado risk too. So look at that. Smack dab in the west side of our 10 sig tor. Let's go back to this radar site. I'll keep it on. No, we'll keep it on this one. Now you guys can see more locations. So that's Rosebud right there. This is the area of rotation. Right in here. So it's trying to rotate right over Wilson, going right up towards Rosebud. We're going to watch this storm very closely. We're not going to go to any other storm in the short term here, maybe in a little later, but this is a tornado warning, so we're going to stay with this for a while. I do want to go look at this. Yep. See, look at that. Boom. That warm front just jumped a big ways north. Look at that. So that's what it was. That warm front just pushed big time northward over the last 30 minutes. So your warm front did push more north, and that's allowed for this storm to get better instability, and thus it's trying to rotate quicker. So make sure you are in your safe spot, Rosebud, Burlington, up towards High Bank, Regan. Eventually, this will go into Hammond and what is this, like Central Texas? Yeah, this is like dead Central Texas. So just make sure you're in your safe spot. That hook echo is still dissipated, so that's good news. Hopefully that stays the case. But this thing's got a crazy ZDR arcing with it and is trying to rotate. You can also see just maybe a little bit of hail starting there too, but just the higher DBZ values that have now increased here. That's contributing to that ZDR arc. So definitely trying to strengthen. We'll see how much it can strengthen. Velocities have broken apart, so that's good. So these are velocities. Red is winds going towards, or rather away from the radar. Almost said towards. Red is winds going away from the radar, which is this way. So you've got a lot of winds that are heading like this. And green is winds going towards the radar. And you can see we have pretty much no greens here. There's a pocket of corruption. Clear air up here. So that could be some inflow, but it's not like tornadic inflow there. So you just have a lot of winds going away from the radar site. And we did have some greens going towards the radar site 2 scans ago. That area of rotation was getting a bit stronger. That's what prompted the tornado warning. Let's see. Next scan should be within a minute or so. Outflow dominant? Buddy, it just... What? It just got tornadic. Definitely is not outflow dominant. But it may... Who knows? Maybe it might. It might. You can't really tell right now. It's too early. Give it a few scans and we'll be able to tell if it's going outflow dominant or not. We'll see. Can't really tell yet. Still difficult to tell. So we'll just keep an eye on that. There's some convection forming in the inflow, so that's good news. Burlington, Rosebud, High Bank, Regan, you guys are still inside this tornado warning. Yeah, we'll keep watching for this supercell threat. It might be closer to 1 p.m. before those storms get going, if they can. I mean, the HRRR is still consistent with multiple long-tracked strong to intense tornadoes today. It's still staying very consistent with that. There's your tornado warning again. So still looking at that area of rotation going right towards Rosebud. It's very weak now, though. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, so still a little area of green and red, but it's very weak. Not something I'm as concerned about. That hook fell apart very, very fast. That's your occlusion process. So you can see your hook started really right here is where your hook started. So it was still a hook, 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 and then it started to wrap up around. They tornado warned it, and then that hook started to occlude on the next scan. So it went just like that. And now it's gone. So yeah, it does look more outflow dominant like right now. This is the flanking line of convection. That's your clear slot right up here. And if we do get a hook, it would be right over Rosebud. But looks like we got convection into the inflow there. We got a lot of convection into the inflow now. Yeah, I don't know either, Ben. I don't know. I'm kind of like 50-50 on it. We'll just keep watching towards that I-10 corridor. Where does the HRRR want those storms to form? Let's see. Yeah, so it wants them out of these cells here. They really just pop up out of thin air. They really do. Yeah, you can see there's no storms exactly where the HRRR has. There's some north and south of it, though. So we'll keep an eye on it still. Just watch, see if those develop. Still some severe storms also back out here, northwest of Lafayette, Louisiana. So we're just watching this tornado warning. These storms are way too far north. They're really just dropping small hail, the isolated gusty wind. Huh. A little bit of a QLCS spin-up threat with that. South of Dallas. Get another radar on that. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I mean, there's not much environment up here, but we'll keep an eye on it just in case. We'll just see. Doesn't hurt just to watch it. You never know. So those are apparently your supercells that are going to become strong tornadoes later on today. Don't know how much I trust that HRRR. I think it really develops them out of that southern cluster. Towards, let's see, this is towards what? Southeast of San Antonio. Ben, go chase these light rain showers. So those are going to be moving up to the northeast. And you can see that, I mean, they're eventually going to get towards the I-10 corridor. All right, 12:15, that should be a new mesoanalysis. So it's 16Z. Yep, new mesoanalysis. Man, has that warm front ever lifted north. Significantly more north. Look at the difference. Look at the difference between this one here and now. Huge northward push. Let's get a sounding from what apparently is going to be those strong tornadoes. Good morning, Lucky. Want me to unmute you on stream, or are you going to yap on whilst I keep shimming like last time? I knew it. What? Yeah, I know. I mean, the environment gets a lot better to the northeast. Look at that. I don't know, Ben. I wouldn't be shocked if these become your strong tornado threat right in here. Gonna go up towards I-10. Let me get back over here. Why don't you be 250? Why don't you? Yeah. Potential for a tornado and or severe thunderstorm watch to be issued across central and especially southern Louisiana. So that's concerning those storms that have developed. Probably will be a severe thunderstorm watch, considering they mainly talk about 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1.75-inch hail, and perhaps a tornado. So maybe a tornado. I don't think we got a lot last night. Let me go see. Go to the last 200 loops here. Same. Yeah, we did get some supercells to develop. I'm trying to get a closer view at them. Let's see. Yeah, we saw like 1 or 2 supercells develop. It looked like they didn't do anything too significant. And then we got our prefrontal supercell that was tornadic for like an hour this morning. Then we went live. We went live right as the tornado warning expired. My luck. The fact that we didn't see any supercells last night, yes. It did not use the environment, so we were able to transfer 75-degree dew points into southeastern Texas today, as opposed to what would have been a lesser moisture environment if we were to see storms. So it definitely helped increase today's threat. That's why we went from 5% to 10 sig. We only have 3.9 Celsius, 0 to 1 kilometer lapse rates. Lucky, you know what? The 6-kilometer lapse rates in North Carolina weren't too bad yesterday. 3.9 in Southeast Texas. What's happening? It would be an overconvection slop. And think about that, Lucky. 8 lower level kilometer lapse rates, you're probably going to have dews into the mid-60s and temperatures into the 90s. It's probably just going to be elevated slop and HP messy hail. Got a random supercell that is intensified out here north of Crystal City. It's probably because it's near that 5,500 instability environment. So it's strengthening some and moving up towards the northeast here. All by its little self. Still watching that tornado warning over Rosebud. Just a little less concerned about it now because there's a lot more convection impeding it on the west side. As well as it just went under one cell merge and it's about to be a little hit by another one. That shouldn't affect it much. Also, it doesn't look like it's hooking anymore. That's the big thing. It looks more outflow dominant like Ben said a while ago. I would probably blow a flat tire like last time. That's exactly what happens. The one time we get discrete supercells and I blow a tire. So if it happens again, I'm going to blow another tire. Calling it now. Can't convection on its flank help it hook again. Yeah, it can. On its flank from like the southwest, for instance, like this little rain shower here. I don't... It would have to be a cell merge. It wouldn't be like just straight convection unit. This isn't going to help it. All this mess here, that's not going to help it. And I don't know if it's going to hurt it. I'm unsure. May hurt it. I don't really know. Oh, they're starting to get there. If these become your long-tracked, strong, intense tornado makers today, that's wild. Because these things aren't but like a mile wide. We've had tornadoes bigger than these thunderstorms right now. We've literally had a tornado bigger than these thunderstorms. That's how small they are. These things are small. Okay, there we go. Alright, let me go back up to Dallas's radar site. So there's your storm going to McKinney. Mainly 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail with that. It's currently being... The line is hitting that prefrontal storm right now. Let me see. I wonder what, I'm gonna check HREF, see what that has. Oh. I don't know about that. Look lucky. No, Discord. Think that's gonna verify? Yep. That orange is the SBC's enhanced. The red is model run. Nah. There's probably a 5% chance we get a tornado south of Louisiana tomorrow. In the Gulf. We could get a water spout south of Louisiana tomorrow. Our biggest threat for tornadoes tomorrow is not going to be a tornado. It's going to be a water spout. This stuff is just turned into slop. Look at all this. It's just turned into a big slop. We'll keep an eye on these cells back here. I think they have a chance as they move northeast away from the 4 Celsius lapse rates. 4 Celsius is crazy. No change with height for temperatures, dude. No temperature change with height. Interesting. Now, a lot of models agree that this is this line is just gonna probably fizzle out, and then we'll get a new line further south. Yeah, I see that happening on the new HRRR too. It's not really a line. We don't really get a line further south. It's more of just a cluster. Not so much of a line. Thinks Oklahoma's gonna pop off? What? Wouldn't surprise me. You can never predict NATO cast. Either it's ridiculously underdoing things, it's agreeing with the SBC, or it's throwing out a high risk. You never know. Yeah. Yep. You know, a good question. Let me look. Let me go see. No. Hold on. Did it nail it? Oh, I forgot what the town name was called. Hold on. NATOcast might have absolutely nailed the threat yesterday. No way. Did it? I gotta look, chat. Hold on. Slow SPC site. Give me a second. SPC site ain't even working. Nope. It was a county too far south. Wait. Lucky. No, actually, I think it did. Look. There's the 3%. I gotta send him in Discord so I could do a full side-by-side. There's the tornado. I can't. For some reason, the SPC site doesn't work now. It doesn't show reports for some reason. It's right, like, next to it. I think NATOcast got the tornado yesterday in Eastern NC. I don't know if I would fully do that because it absolutely failed, the one in Texas. It had a 10 sig tour. I don't even think we got one report in that area. Oh, we got a land spout report, but that was actually in like the 2% on NATOcast in southeast New Mexico. There they are, y'all. These are your supercells that are apparently going to be strong tornadoes in about, I don't know. Like I said, the HRRR keeps pushing it back. It said, at first it said 12 o'clock. Then an hour ago it said 1 o'clock. And now it says 2 o'clock. So it's going to keep pushing it back. That's what the HRRR does. Until eventually the threat just never happens. Yeah, or it pops off, one or the other. Excuse me. Dallas is clear. If you are in downtown Dallas, you have a heavy rain left over, but you're done. You are passing, the cold front's passing right now. It's just going to be a little cold afterwards, but yeah, that's your biggest hazard is some cooler air. It's probably going to be a nicer day in Texas than it will be up here. Yeah, it's going to be mid-60s in Dallas. It's going to be low 70s up here in Virginia. Nope, I don't think you're going to have much of a tornado threat. I really don't. I think Dallas is far enough north to where the tornado threat won't be that bad. We're just having a big-time overconvection issue everywhere. So we're keeping an eye on these storms to possibly be discrete and produce tornadoes as they get up towards like northwest of Houston in about an hour and a half, maybe 2. But if they're messy, then that's just going to disappear too. And that's not even close to Dallas. You know, that's on the opposite side of Texas. It's way down here towards Houston where that threat may develop. Shreveport, oh, that's really hard to say. Shreveport's very difficult because that's so far to the east, and our model runs have been wrong already today. So, I don't see much in Shreveport right now, but, you know, rain will probably start towards 2 p.m. Central, but I don't see much severe weather in Shreveport. Even though you're under a, are you under a slight or a marginal? Yeah, you're under a marginal. What do you want? You've been muted the whole time. $13 left on that tornado warning for Pleasant Grove. So just make sure you're in your safe spot. That's in Texas, of course. 2,000 CAPE over my house. In New Jersey. Man. What risk is there up there? Oh, there's a slight up there. 15 wind, 5% hail. No tornado risk. Yeah. I learned that when the SPC has a 0% tornado risk, you better go check models. Because sometimes that's not always true. Like yesterday, for instance, they had a 0% tornado risk. There was nothing at all over NC and Virginia. And then storms started to pop off, and they added a 2% after that. So if I based my chase yesterday off the SPC outlook, I wouldn't have went. Yes, it is 11:33 a.m. Central Time, and the risk is over. Yep, Rango, you're right. That's it. We're barely in the 10 sig tour, but we're already calling it quits. That's Rango for you. Yeah, I wouldn't rule out a brief tornado, especially in like southeast Pennsylvania, northeast Maryland, northwest New Jersey. Like the tri-state area right there. Get a tri-state tornado that lasts like 2 minutes. Like literally, is that possible? Let me go up here. Yeah, like literally, look at that. You can get like a tri-state tornado that lasts like 60 seconds. You know, it tracks from like right here. Boom. You get a little tri-state tornado that fast. That would be crazy. Yeah, but tornado threat today is very, very low up there. I wouldn't be worried about tornadoes. I wouldn't fully rule it out, but it's nothing to worry about. I kid you not, they have just introduced a 2% tornado risk up there. I kid you not. Look at that. After I just mentioned I wouldn't always trust the SPC not upgrading it. There's your 2%. I kid you not. Look at that. They just issued a 2%. That's what they did for yesterday in North Carolina, too. So there is a chance for a tornado up there, but it's very low. You know, if you're worried about a tornado threat up there, you know, you have severe storm anxiety. Just make sure you're weather aware. You'll be fine. Just keep an eye on it and you'll be fine. But yeah, the SPC does upgrades like that and downgrades, and they do outlooks throughout the day. So you need to make sure you're frequently checking it back in with the SPC. I know a lot of people just end up checking the SPC's 9 a.m. update, and then that's it. You need to check back frequently because they change it. They change the outlook. They can add probabilities, take probabilities away, completely shift the whole outlook. So you need to keep an eye on it. We jumped from 27 to 45,000 people without power in the last 30 minutes in Texas. All right, looks like they're going to let this tornado warning expire in 9 minutes. They've continued the severe. It is no longer tour possible. I'm going to go read the SPC outlook here. Let's see. Yeah, this is their new one. Several thunderstorms are expected today and this evening, especially across portions of central eastern Texas into west central Louisiana. Large to very large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes, potentially a few of which may be strong, should occur. There you go. So, just my whole point about the SPC rant, by the way, it was just check back with the SPC. Don't just look at their outlook one time and go, yep, it's going to stay just like that. Because it's going to change. There, I like that hail outlook a lot better. They completely fixed that hail outlook. There's your only little hatched area. I don't know why the 15 hatched was all the way back in like almost the panhandle earlier. Alright. So there's your hatched wind threat. That's your best chance for up to 3-inch hail. Still looking at updating on our winds and still looking at widespread, pretty widespread tornado threat with the opportunity for a strong tornado or two around College Station. So there you go. Okay. Yeah, the whole northern line is also weakening. I was just looking at it on radar. This whole northern part's weakening again. No, you're not getting another line. You're being clipped by some heavier rain again, but you're not really getting... You're not going to get anything else after this. Like I said, once you're past the front, you're good. But you do have to watch out because it is moving northeast. So, say, you might think you're good in, like, say, Italy, Texas. But in reality, you're not fully past the front yet. So you could still get some rain in Dallas, but I think it's going to stay to your south. It's hard to say exactly where your front is. It's somewhere in here. Actually, your front might be more west than I thought. Let's see, there's your front moving on like that. Yeah. I can't tell where the front is on the northern side. I want to say it's right in here. But really, if you're, you know, once you get past this line right in here, you're really good. So Dallas, I mean, you're just going to keep getting rain, so just stay weather aware. But severe-wise, Dallas is fine. You're not going to get in another severe in Dallas. There's no way. Little air rotation spinning up there on I-45. southeast of Garrett. Hold on. Connor's doing an analysis. I want to... Somebody's saying. See what Connor's thinking. Oh, he's going south-south. Yeah, actually, Connor's going to the exact... He's going to exactly where I said. I said LaGrange is where I'd go. That's where Connor's going. I agree. That's where I would go, too. Ben, you got to look at the one thing that's not a big mess right now. That's down here. So that's out there, east of Floresville in Texas. But yeah, it is a pretty big mess. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that. The thread as a whole is quite a mess. Let's see. All right, well, we're just going to wait, see how the risk plays out here. Huh. Yeah, keep an eye on this little... There's two little areas. One southwest of Taylor, Texas. And there's I'm interested in this little velocity area here near Friendship, Texas. See if that's a hook. Wait and see what the velocity shows. I want to wait for that velocity scan here. Tornadoes like to try to sneak under the radar sight. We've actually seen plenty of them. Plenty of tornadoes like to try to form right under the little blind spot of the radar. Alright, no longer under a tornado warning. We'll switch back over here. Yeah, that might be, that might be something. We could have a potential tornado here near Friendship, Texas. I don't see any CC or anything like that, but just that couplet mixed in with your hook echo. It's a cell merge, and that's all it takes. So keep an eye on that. See if we get any type of debris signature at all. I wouldn't be shocked if that is trying to produce a tornado or possibly is producing a tornado here. Just east of the radar site, east of Granger, Texas. So we'll watch that, see what it shows on the next scan. Yep, cone of silence. That's what you call it. I was looking for that word, Ben. Tornadoes try to form under the cone of silence of the radar. You may think that, that's, what are the chances of that? A tornado forming right on top of the radar site? Actually, somehow it's got to be pretty high. I say that because I've seen so many tornadoes in the cone of silence. I've seen so many. For instance, I'm trying to think. For instance, right now, how about that? Right now, there's trying to be, we're trying to get a spin-up tornado. This storm's trying to spin up a tornado right near the radar site. Now it's leaving the cone of silence, so that's good. So we shall keep an eye on it. I apologize if I'm stumbling over my words. I haven't eaten anything today. I should probably go do that before anything starts to pop off. I'm still tired. I should go get me some energy so that way I don't stumble over my words every 5 seconds. Lucky probably just left to go get more food. I want to see the next scan on this. Come on. Okay, there's your next reflectivity scan. There's your next velocity scan. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's on the ground. That's a pretty good spectrum width spot. I'm gonna do a 6 panel on that. 6 panel? No, 4 panel. See? Stumbling over my words. Okay, so we know that's corruption CC right there. So that's corruption CC. That's good to know. Okay, where is this? Near Laneport, Texas. Let me get a more... About 10 miles east of Granger. Is that Granger? Yeah, Granger. Okay. Oh, they just severe warned it. It is tour possible, and it is warned for 65 mile-an-hour winds. So they're watching it. That's good to know. So they're keeping an eye on that. Still some winds there. See if it's anything correlating on radar here. Okay, I don't think that's trying to spin up maybe anymore. It doesn't look as tight. But we'll keep an eye on that. All right, let's go see this storm. Yeah, not doing much towards Bremond. And severe back there towards Johnson City again. And then still a severe out here over Batesville. Lapse rates might be just too weak for these storms to do anything over Smiley. Smiley. Temple, Texas, you should be over here. Nope, no warnings. All that heavy rain and all the lightning. I think you will be clear after that. There's a storm that should get pretty close to Temple, but I think that will stay south of Temple, Texas. So after this, this is done here in about 5-10 minutes. You're good to go for the rest of the day. Pretty sure. All right. Still some severes out there in Louisiana. So we're back up to 8 severes. We just got a considerable severe for Clarksville. That's going outside of the severe watch for 1.75-inch hail. That's in Mount Pleasant going towards Clarksville, just west of New Boston in northeast Texas. So going towards Clarksville, currently in and moving out of Mount Pleasant there. So that's in far northeast Texas. 1.75-inch hail moving towards Clarksville, northeast Texas. You got that hail core right here. See exactly where it's moving. It might barely move to the east of Clarksville. Yeah. But the severe warning is for the city of Clarksville in northeast Texas there. But you might not get much more than just heavy rain. We'll see where that hail core goes. That's the main portion of your severe right there. Keep an eye on that still. So that's where your 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts are. Up to 70. Or rather 65, my bad. Up to 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts there. That's going to go right towards Cameron. Yeah, that's going to head very, very close to Cameron, Texas. Okay. Yeah, we'll just... I don't know what those stars are going to be able to do here. There's a lot of uncertainty on the convective evolution of today's threat. Oh, here comes a new HRRR. There's a lot of questions on it. I have no idea, Ben. But these storms are inside the 10 sig tornado risk now. They're in the 10 sig tor. Man, Lucky said he was going to be back in a minute. He's been gone for like 20. No, like literally, I think he's been gone for 20. He probably went to take a nap. So we'll watch for a spin-up tornado threat along that line that's formed towards Rockdale. I don't think that storm in College Station is going to do much. I know some chasers were talking about that, but I don't see that doing much. It's not really a robust storm. Okay. So just a waiting game to see if those storms develop out here. They're going to be going up towards LaGrange, Columbus, and Texas. See what the new HRRR has. The new HRRR, for some reason, does have both of these storms potentially being tornadic. Let me go take a look at that from a radar site. Oh, wait, we don't have one. It's in a radar hole. Yeah, I don't think that's tornadic at all. Nah. Still trying to get a spin-up tornado up here. Look at that. Right over Sharp. Right over Sharp in Texas. Little surprised this hasn't been warned. Because it's definitely attempting to produce a quick spin-up. That's going to go still directly towards Cameron. Right towards Cameron in Central Texas. It is about to get a cell merge, so hopefully that hurts it. Yeah, those storms are starting to bubble up on satellite imagery now. Very difficult to see them because they're so tiny on satellite, but I can see them starting to bubble up right in that area. I just circled above my face cam. It's so tiny you can barely see it. So they are strengthening. They are trying to strengthen. Yeah, the HRRR has it has this being our main line now. This right here being our main line. So it looks like your main line is most likely formed right in here. Just north of, actually just barely east of Austin, Texas. So from here on out, your threat begins to increase. We're getting almost to 1 p.m. Eastern. Yep. See if we look at the newest HRRR for 3 p.m. actually. This is for 3 p.m. See, it has that main line formed. It still has that little hailer there that goes right over Ben's house. And then it still does have some prefrontal supercells being an issue out here. So definitely a few severe hazards for sure. Quite a few areas to keep an eye on. And then it has the leftover supercells out there in central Louisiana, which are mainly going to be low-end wind threats, large hail threat, and then maybe a spin-up tornado. All right, let's go back to our radar site. Yeah, still a good area of rotation, trying to spin up a tornado, this time over Sharp, Texas. Hi. What are you coughing about? Lucky's back after 20 minutes of a 1-minute break. That was a very long 1 minute, Lucky. Like 3 severes and an area of rotation. Still going too. Possibly. I wouldn't be shocked if one of these produced a tornado. Wouldn't surprise me if it did. Oh, and those prefrontals are slowly getting going. Yeah, like they'll probably be supercells in approximately 17 hours. No, just kidding. For like 3. Thingy majiggy. Yeah. This dude. Buddy, I rolled out of bed and hit the go live button. There wasn't no routine for me. Well, I normally go and stream at 6, but guess what, Lucky? Storms don't always fire at 6 p.m. So I can't make a routine around something that always changes. Yeah, before I start stream, I, open Streamlabs. That's what I do. Yeah, Lucky apparently has a whole routine before he starts his stream, so I guess that routine only gets done like once a year. Usually once a week, sure, buddy. You're very late to that, buddy. Very late. Nope. Yeah. I'd rather watch it later. Not whilst I'm streaming, Lucky. So still a significant severe east of Clarksville for a 1.75-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Jeez, that was bad, Lucky. Oh, you want to be unmuted now? Nope. Nope. You haven't told me. Alright, say hi.
Ah!
Bro just got completely cut off.
Yo! What's up, Matt? Oh, man.
That's crazy.
If he's complaining about something being too early, tell him every hurricane landfall. What's up, Pete? Ben, quit being a troll. But,
That's crazy.
I
don't know why this isn't tornado warned anymore.
Yeah, me neither, bro.
I'm gonna do a quick tweet about it. Talk to chat, will ya? Do something you're terrible at. Oh.
Hey! Come on, guys. You see, bro's being mean to me, man. Anyways, guys, hope everyone's having a good day today. It's a Tuesday. We're almost halfway through the week, which means we're almost at Thursday, which also means if you're at Thursday, which means you're at Friday. Friday means the weekend, so which means Saturday and Sunday are gonna go by so fast. So technically, it's Monday.
What?
Right?
Like what?
Someone rewind stream and watch that and listen to that. It's so true.
Now you guys see why I don't invite this guy on my stream here.
Hey. Hey, man.
New severe watch probably for Louisiana if I had to guess.
P, I don't want to talk about it. P, I really don't want to talk about it. It was terrible.
Austin, Texas. Hey, I finally know where Austin is. Look at that. Let's see. You're clear for a while. If you're in like downtown Austin, a storm just went through you. Finally, about time. But there's going to be more storms in maybe, give or take, 45 minutes.
Tornado warning for Central Milam County in Central Texas, Milam County in Texas.
Centerville, Texas. Well, that's a lot more east than Austin, I could tell you that. Yeah, these storms are heading right for Centerville. So 60-mile-an-hour winds, tornado or two, and some hail possibly around an inch in diameter, all possible. So there you go. They did finally warn that area of rotation that's been rotating for like the last 30
Is
minutes
that on the
straight.
ground?
It's literally been rotating for the last 30 minutes, and it's finally got warned.
Is it on the ground? I mean, I forgot because I mean I don't think it's near anything that it could hit for CC. I could be
I mean, it
wrong,
has a
but-
good spectrum width.
Oh yeah, I was about to say spectrum width lines up
Yeah.
like perfectly.
So it wouldn't surprise me if it's on the ground at all. It would not
Yeah.
shock me.
Oh, let me do that. Storm relative velocity. Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh wait, that's severe watches for Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's way up here. New severe watch way up here in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York.
I'm pretty sure the DBZs
Oh wait, does
are
that
a
go
little...
to New Jersey? Yeah, it did. Yeah, so that is for New Jersey. Main threats, I'm gonna guess wind and hail. In that order. Oh, actually tied. Wind and hail are tied for the biggest threat, and then, could see a spin-up tornado, but not much of a tornado threat there. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if there is a tornado on the ground southwest of Cameron, going, probably gonna go just to the southeast of Cameron. Would not surprise me. Lucky? Lucky, wakey, wakey.
Hello?
You think the prefrontals are gonna do anything or no?
Oh, you asked me this yesterday or the day before. I think they will. Did they do anything the day before?
I don't know. I don't know what day you're referring to.
2 days ago.
2 days ago, I was storm chasing.
You storm chased 2 days in a row?
When was 2 days ago? Sunday?
Yeah,
Was there even a threat Sunday?
had to be.
I don't know. I can't remember.
You told me very recently.
Let me see. Sunday? What date's that, Lucky?
The 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Bruh.
Sorry, I know that was cringe, guys. Sorry, I apologize.
Dude. Yeah, I have no
That's not
idea.
okay.
I have no idea, dude. You should have asked me that 2 days ago.
Bro, anyways, I think they may do something. What are they gonna do? I don't know.
Things are starting to get a little worse at it. A few more severe storms. We just got another tornado warning, and there's prefrontals trying to fire. Will they succeed? Well, only time will tell. Let's see. Couplet's dying in the last frame. Yeah, it is. It's starting to die out on that newest frame. Also, now a significant severe for 70-mile-an-hour winds for the next 35 minutes. So they just upgraded that. Alright, that severe watch that was issued a really long time ago was just canceled to the northwest of San Antonio. And there you go. They just dropped a good chunk of the watch. So, yeah, Fort Worth is fully in the clear. No longer in a severe watch. Dallas is still in a severe watch just in case. And then they also dropped the tornado watch from Gainesville. All that's in Texas. These prefrontals are slow. They're getting there, though. Look at it. Especially that northern one. It's the lower level lapse rates. That's why they're very slowly strengthening. It's not like a big explosion. Oh, Connor stopped at a McDonald's. Where's that at? What McDonald's is he at? There's Austin. So he's... I can't find out. There's too many roads. There's too many roads. I can't tell where he is. He's south of this severe. So here's the severe. Follow this road down. I think he is somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. I want to say right there. It's too hard to tell where he is. I can't figure it out. There's too many roads here. I might be able to see it actually from doing this. Oh, he's in LaGrange already? How did he get there so fast? He's already in LaGrange. He didn't update his location, so I didn't think he was in LaGrange. But he's already made it. Him fast. Guess who's back? Sam. Lucky, wake up.
I'm up.
Yeah, so it wouldn't shock me if this dropped a tornado at some point. It started rotating east of Granger, Texas, right over the cone of silence. And then it's still there. It's breaking apart, but it's definitely still, you know, the pocket of 70-mile-an-hour winds is still there, so it could try to rotate again. So it looks like those cells are going. Those prefrontals are going. We'll see how long they last. See if they really explode. Oh, Lucky, if you want to look real quick. In DMs.
Alright.
Oops, wrong number. That number. Okay. I mean, the storms don't look too rough right now. We'll still watch them. Still going to be worth keeping an eye on them. So tornado warning still remains in place for 31 more minutes. I don't see a tornado threat. Now there's literally a tornado warning. There's literally a tornado warning. So still an area of rotation there. Keep watching that. That's going to go up towards Maysfield. Not Mayfield, Maysfield, Texas. I have a pretty good feeling these storms are going to become strong tornado producers here in about 2 hours. As they go up towards probably like Sealy or so, west of Sealy. LaGrange, LaGrange is like, that's definitely the spot to go. So. The prefrontals have been there. Prefrontals have been there for like an hour almost. Yeah, they formed at 1538Z. It's, yeah, almost 2 hours ago they formed. They've been there for a while. Just now they're starting to get more robust. Still a good 70-mile-an-hour wind gust threat there. And a little area of rotation with that, too. Going up towards Branchville. Alright. Yeah, lapse rates, they're probably still pretty low. Check the new meso-analysis real quick. Let's see. So for those prefrontals, lapse rates are 5.2. So they're improving in the lower levels. Where is that little dot at? Is that like... I think that's LaGrange. There's a specific area where these things get really... The environment's really favorable. I think it's LaGrange.
I go on mute, okay?
Okay.
Alright.
I don't know what that was. Alright. Okay, so that's... Okay, one up, one up. Okay, no, that's actually this town is where the environment gets very, very favorable. So, I'm going to have to send you guys over to Lucky here in a few minutes. I've got to go do some stuff. I didn't get to do anything. I didn't help out my family at all, so he's going to take over for me, thankfully. I'm not going to do any outro music. I'm going to go eat. I'm going to go help out my family because they need my help pretty bad right now. And families first. I do consider all you guys family as well, but my IRL family needs some help. And I'm also hungry, so I'm going to go help them. I'm going to send you guys over to Lucky here. It seems like this tornado is on the ground here. Yeah, that's likely on the ground. So Lucky will get that covered for you guys. I'll send you guys right on over to him. Yeah, that's on the ground. But I gotta go help out my family, so I will see you guys probably later on today. There's a good chance I come back on, especially if those prefrontals get going. There's a pretty good chance I come back on towards maybe like 4 or so. So I'll see you guys soon. Lucky is going to cover in the meantime, so just stay right here on this stream. You should be automatically redirected to him. I'll see you guys in 2 hours. I know we're ending under a confirmed warning, but yeah, I'm going to go eat and then help out my family. I'll be back on. So enjoy Lucky's stream. You can just go to his channel or you could just stay in the chat. It'll redirect you. Have a great rest of your